Dude, that scene blew me away.
The way you put your point across and that too in English, that puts a good ass filter. अब तो छपरी होगा तो समझ ही नहीं आएगा तू बोल क्या रहा है.
Oh dude, pre पोस्टर. एक बार तो टीजर आया भी नहीं था और प्री टीजर रिव्यू. अबे बात क्या कर रहे हैं
भाई? बाथरूम से वीडियो बना देते हैं, बाथरूम से वीडियो. गदर में पहली फिल्म एक लेगेसी थी. ट्रेलर लॉन्च इवेंट में सनी पाजी खुद बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे को सेंटिमेंट नहीं हर्ट करने पाकिस्तान वालों के. तुम जिसको डिफेंड कर रहे हो वो क्या बोल रहा है पब्लिक में जाके उसको देख तो लो पहले. ब्लाइंड हेट.
बॉयकॉट बॉलीवुड पे कितने वीडियोस उखाड़ लोगे तुम? 3 महीने तक वही चला रहे थे तुम यार. That's a great point. You should quote that. Sell it as merchandise.
And we gotta do it something like this.
Welcome Anmol. Finally. The guest that has been the most requested on the channel. Like हर किसी को चाहिए कि भैया अनमोल के साथ बैठो भाई, उसको लेके आओ लास्ट टाइम. बिकॉज लास्ट पॉडकास्ट वॉज विद अंकित ओनली देसी. तूने उसको बहुत पहले रिव्यू करा हुआ है आई गेस, राइट? you've interviewed him like what, two years back or something?
I think during peak pandemic पे बात हुई थी हमारी. हाँ.
अच्छा. और उससे पहले it was PJ that I had on the channel. And then also next we want to see Anmol and stuff like that. And you know how the comparisons are drawn, how you and I are talked together. Right, Reddit with, and you know about it, right? You know about
it. See,
right?
I definitely get constant mentions, especially if we disagree. तो वो तो standard है. And I think also we're pretty clear about our point of view, and I think we're passionate about it also. So that's why we probably stand out as distinct personalities if we're polar opposites in that movie review. But mentions in my comments constantly, especially when we disagree, but Reddit I try to stay away from because from whenever people send me links, it's something like the worst opinion probably of me or like some personal jab. तो वो मैं अगर ज़्यादा पढ़ने लग जाऊँ ना तो वो मुझे लगता है कि मैं वर्म होल और एको चेम्बर में फंस जाऊँगा, तो मैं ज़्यादा उसे अवॉइड करता हूँ थोड़ा.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same thing happens here as well, in our comment section as well. Like they differed on this much, so much. And there was a comment that has stuck with me for so long, was ki Anmol is like a surgeon who gets in and gets the job done, and Shantanu is like a butcher with a surgeon's knife, and he gets into the room and slashes everybody. So the personalities are the same, but how they conduct themselves during the reviews and how they review the film is very different for both of them, right? So that comment was like, "Ha, yeah, this is the truth," because you keep it very different and I keep it very different, but we are probably on the same tangent when it comes to reviewing films.
See, I think what will happen is that our critical analysis is different, whereas our sentiment outside, getting out of the theater together, will be the same, or whether we liked or disliked. Like I remember very distinctly watching your Lal Singh Chadda review, and I personally just did not like it even upon watching it again. And then when I see your review, I see the homework that you're doing of the historical facts of it and doing a critical like breakdown of that. For me, that goes in probably if I ever do a spoiler-filled discussion. But I try to stay away from the review, but I see like why people appreciate it, why you go down to the minutest of details in the review itself. So I think that's the key difference, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like you did not agree with me on Lal Singh Chadda's review.
No, I did agree. I did agree.
अच्छा, I thought you said कि तेरे को अच्छी लगी and
no.
I was
I said that, see, I also dislike the film, but I'm saying that say my review is mostly restricted to the pitch of his performance or the dramatic way where he took the character, and how from probably a screenplay perspective it made no sense for me. But I remember seeing your review where you were so critical of the historical facts that they got absolutely wrong. That was the main difference that I saw.
Yeah, and that was also the first time you mentioned my video in your video as well, and I got to know it through the comment section as usual that Anmol gave you a shout out and stuff like that. Yeah, man, वो थोड़ा सा मेरे को लगा था कि they completely whitewashed that thing, and you should not be doing this when it comes to the armed forces, especially when Indian Army is known for their high code of conduct when it comes to human rights and everything. So वहाँ पे they completely went like blasphemous with that thing. I think that, and that's what I mentioned, and that's what I think that nobody else actually put it up with, because a lot of people who have seen Forrest Gump as well, they also miss out on this thing. In fact, in Forrest Gump, अगर तूने देखी होगी, वहाँ पे भी they do not explicitly mention McNamara's projects, or the McNamara's morons, as it was called. But yeah, man, that was one blunder. But I really like Amir's work, and I don't really like where he's going right now, right? In
Yeah,
the direction, and I'm sure. Yeah.
You know, there are some movies where I know that both of us were passionately angry about Adipurush, but sometimes when you watch a movie, it breaks your heart because you love that actor so much and their craft, and that's what I felt about Lal Singh Chadda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it broke my heart on how he thought that that same pitch was working for the film, even though from what I read behind the scenes, Atul Kulkarni was pretty much against it, and he was the writer.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and Amir, I think taking 3 years for, अब जो भी product हमने देखा उसके बाद taking 3 years for Lal Singh Chadda and then not doing justice to the craft. I mean, what Amir is known for actually. And then everybody was like disappointed. Because when Amir comes out, yeah. Go ahead.
You know what I also love about and really respect you about is that I think both of us from a very small section, probably especially for Lal Singh Chadda's review, thought that we were joining on the hate bandwagon, because that time also it was a toxic environment and everybody was against anything Amir doing. But you know, this retrospective analysis that starts कि अरे तुम भेड़ चाल में पड़ गए थे, ये वो हो गया था. I love that you stood by it also, because a lot of people get swayed by it. Especially I remember during the pandemic, people were just saying anything and everything. So, वही.
Bro, people have built their careers on hate. People have literally built them. मैंने तो अपना channel ही late pandemic में शुरू किया था. I never even knew that I would be starting my independent channel after leaving Men's XP. Right? We were sitting at home. There was nothing. There was a lockdown all over Canada, and we had one of the most draconian lockdowns in all of North America. Like US was open halfway through, we were not. So it was I was just sitting and my wife was like, why don't you start your channel and shit. So I was like, मुझे पता नहीं, मैं वहाँ से पूरे वहाँ पे हम हीरो बन के जाते थे studio में. There used to be a spot dada, used to be a light and sound dada, everybody was there. We used to get like 2 or 3 episodes into Honest Reviews, we used to get like our clothes sourced out from somewhere, this and that, and I had nothing of those sorts. So I just put up I had this a green screen at home and probably a tripod, and I started it off. और तभी उसी दौरान this Karan Johar thing happened, which is still not dying down, right? We saw the same thing in Rocky Rani. Bro, what the fuck is happening with Rocky Rani? I don't understand. It's a nice film. It's a good one-time watch, and paid reviews filled with.
There are several theories that I have. Several theories which include people making him the poster child of everything evil. That अगर मतलब कि part of country X में कुछ problem है तो सिर्फ करण जौहर है issue. So you know, everything that points towards him, I think there is validity to the fact that people hate on him for him just being himself and him being such a personality outside of films. You know, I feel like when you spread yourself too thin by doing reality TV shows, talk shows, so many of things, everybody has a perception of your personality. And I feel like India especially, there's a huge problem in creating that demarcation between the art and the artist. And he especially is mostly equated to his personality versus his craft. And dude, I enjoyed the film. I had a few issues with it. And the amount of people who lost it, almost this perception that मतलब कि लाखों कमा रहे हैं यही करके और कोई काम नहीं है उनके पास. It's insane to me, dude. It's insane on how. And you know what's crazy, Shan? What I've noticed is the amount of people who are creating an opinion on the movie without watching it, but only watching the movie through reels. Through reels and Twitter posts, people are watching movies now and creating ये मेरा opinion है अब. So many people are actually not watching the movie and replying back to you on a point by point basis of why they disagree with you. It's immediate mudslinging, name calling, and all of that. And I feel like, see, Shan, what people do is, if Shan liked this movie, he's obviously against this filmmaker and this type of movie. So the fact that Shan likes a Karan Johar movie is like, oh my god, ये भी बिक गया.
राइट मैंने अपने रिव्यू में लास्ट में कहा भी था, आउटरो में मैंने कहा अब मैंने करण जौहर की मूवी का अच्छा रिव्यू दे दिया तो कमेंट करते जाना क्या पेड रिव्यू हो गया ये. एंड देयर वर सर्टेन सार्कास्टिक कमेंट्स बट देयर वर अ टन ऑफ अदर कमेंट्स वर लाइक कि यार ब्रो आई थॉट यू वर द ओनली गाय हु वाज जो नहीं बिका था, बिक गई गवर्नमेंट एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. मैंने कहा यार ये क्या.
But see,
I knew this was coming.
Shan, and imagine it comes, say, less than a month after the Adipurush wave, okay? So, you are passionate about it, you critically break down the film, and everybody joins in the party. Yes, Shan, go, go. Huh? And that same poster child who's probably representative of their echo chamber being like, screw Hindi cinema, screw everything, you like their film immediately. It's like, what? This is not, you know,
What the
making
fuck is
sense.
happening? Yes.
It's crazy.
That happens. And the same thing happened with Gadar, bro. Like मेरे कहने का ये मतलब था गदर में कि पहली फिल्म एक लेगेसी थी, राइट? पहली फिल्म एक अनटचेबल लेगेसी है. Why do you have to go up there and spoil it? Right? And everybody knows that why Anil Sharma is doing it. He wants to relaunch or probably relaunch his son, right? Because Genius, nobody watched Genius and it was a वाइब फिल्म. बट द थिंग इज वो उसको अभी भी उतना ही पुश कर रहा है, राइट? एंड फिल्म में मैंने जितना इनसाइड सोर्सेज से बात करी है प्रोडक्शन में, जो वो यही कह रहे हैं कि सन्नी देओल का 30 से 35% रोल है, रेस्ट 65 to 70% इज ऑल उत्कर्ष शर्मा इन द फिल्म. एंड ऑल दीज पीपल हु आर राइट नाउ बैजरिंग अस कि भैया तुम पाकिस्तानी हो, ये हो, वो हो, आई एम टेलिंग यू दीज पीपल आर गोइंग टू वॉक आउट ऑफ द थिएटर्स एंड दे विल बी लाइक द फर्स्ट वंस टू कम एंड कमेंट ऑन आवर रिव्यू वीडियोस दैट यू गाइस वर राइट. तुम लोगों ने सही बोला था.
You know what's crazy is that you all can clearly tell what the intention of the film is and what they're trying to do. Now the second thing is, okay, the recall value, nostalgia, I'm all for it. Sunny Paji shouting, that hand pump sequence, you're doing what the audience wants.
Yeah.
But the moment you start then defending Utkarsh Sharma as an actor, a 2-film-year-old actor who is delivering dialogues which you would have roasted anyone else for in that trailer cut, but you're protecting him in this, you know,
Under the wheel of Sunny Deol.
on the wheel of Sunny Deol being like, this comeback's going to change everything. But it is going to be as generic as one assumes. And you know, like I started reviewing Telugu films in 2019 or so, and there are Sakranti releases that they have, okay, which are star-led, unabashed, balls to the wall action films, हाँ? उसमें वही हो रहा होता है, वो फेंक रहे होते हैं, सौ मतलब कि मतलब उड़ रहे होते हैं, कुछ नहीं हो रहा होता, they're romancing a girl 25 years younger than them, सब कुछ यही है, हाँ? But on the weekend, all the fans will come, celebrate it, and not care about the reviews. Because they know that this can't be critically analyzed because it's for us and they really hold it close to them.
Dear,
But Hindi cinemas evolved from that, yaar. We can't go back to that and then be like, why aren't you celebrating this kind of cinema?
Exactly. This is the hypocrisy that probably you and I and a couple of other reviewers are calling out consistently, right? There needs to be a consistency in calling out trash, which I do not see. मेरे को याद है जब आदि पुरुष का ट्रेलर आया था, टीजर आया था सबसे पहले, याद है? आई न्यू इट, ऑल ऑफ अस न्यू इट दैट दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अ डिजास्टर. रावण को बिठा रखा चमगादड़ के ऊपर, राइट? एंड वहां कुछ रिव्यूअर्स ऐसे बोल रहे थे, ओ भाई ये हो गया, वो हो गया. मैंने कैन यू नॉट सी व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी देयर इन द फिल्म with the teaser itself, and then the trailer comes out, and then there are certain reviewers who are like, oh my god, ये हो गया, राम जी आ गए. मैंने कहा यार ये राम जी का नाम खराब हो रहा है, रामायण का नाम खराब हो रहा है, तुम कहाँ इन चीजों को प्रेज कर रहे हो, right? And there were some reviewers up till the final trailer of Adipurush, they were harpooning on the fact कि भाई पिक्चर अच्छी हो सकती है, हम कोई नेगेटिविटी फैलाने नहीं आए. एक तो ये बकवास शुरू हो गई है, नेगेटिविटी फैलाने नहीं आए.
Shan, what scared me the most was they were banking on it, huh? They were banking on that we will protect this film under one political lineage, two religious protection, that if someone calls it out, he's obviously anti-Hindu. Huh?
Right.
So even a critical analysis of it, you know what these guys were doing? Obviously, there's such huge paid PR on Twitter now. They were, for every opinion that they were giving, they were writing Jai Shri Ram. They were, and you know, it was almost to the point of pressurizing people ki shit, do I, or making people doubt it. Should I say anything? Am I really being offensive to my gods? But this was all a ploy just for people to stay in line and not say anything. And you know, their loyal followings, yeah, it comes with a certain form of delusion, and you need to call it out. Take the abuse, but people will respect you in the long run for that.
Yeah, absolutely. अरे यार तू अब देख लेना, if there was anybody else in भगवान Ram's role in place
Just
of
imagine,
Prabhas.
Shan, anyone.
Bro.
Imagine if it was a
Much been
Khan.
cancelled. Bro,
They
done,
wouldn't
career
release
done,
it.
ruined. Yeah, they won't release it. They won't even like think of doing any PR around it. Everything would have been cancelled and he would have been thrown out of the industry, boycotted till no end. And but nobody's saying anything to Prabhas when he's equally responsible. I've said this in both of my reviews. One was the film review and one was the reply to Manoj Muntashir. And I made it a point that to point this thing out कि यार इतना बड़ा हीरो है वो, कोई न्यू कमर नहीं है कि जिसको स्क्रिप्ट तुमने पकड़ा दी एंड ही वुड बी लाइक कि हाँ भाई डायरेक्टर ने बोला चल तू ये पढ़ ले और ये लाइनें बोल दियो. Equal input, the director would even write lines and write scenes and sequences keeping him in mind, and then he'll go to him ki Prabhas, this is what I've written for you, what do you think about it, would you be comfortable doing it or do you want me to switch the scene, however is convenient for you, right? ये सब हो रहा है वहां पे and nobody's calling out Prabhas. For what? Is he bigger than Bhagwan Ram? Is he bigger than Ramayan? If you are calling out all of Bollywood for doing almost absolutely sometimes nothing, just like in Rocky Rani, right? Ranveer is a very fine actor. I've always said this. 83 was a career-defining performance by him, and everybody shat on that film like left, right, and center, bro. Like it boils my blood that how good 83 was and how good he actually, how do you say it, the character portrayal of Kapil Dev's that he did was fabulous, man, through and through. There was not a single instance in the film that he let go of that character. उसके दांत बाहर हैं, उसको ऐसे बोलना, उसको ऐसे चलना है, उसका demeanor ऐसे है. And 83 was hated, man, for no reason at all.
See, one is, if you look at the theatrical box office that happens in India, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana is a huge market. And when you're looking at that state, they really like religiously follow their particular actors. So when you get the onslaught of hate, if you dislike a particular film from Telugu especially, it's the most from that. Because they are loyal and they love their actors, that's for sure. But Prabhas has been not that Chhatrapati or Bahubali Prabhas ever since Sahu released.
Bahubali.
Yeah. So, you know, what also becomes very convenient is that these fan pages move on to the next film like that when it's a disaster. Huh? So it's immediately Project K and oh my god, Nag Ashwin is going to kill it, we're going to revive your career, 1,000 crores and all of that. But you're bang on about 83 that people didn't equate it to the quality of the film, people equated it to its box office performance, and sadly everything has become that. Everything has become, oh, Rocky Aur Rani has done 70 crores in 6 days. अरे यार, Karan Johar तो क्या K3G बनाई थी उसने, कितना decline हो गया. But you don't know that's the norm. It's ahead of the curve of 90% of the films in its track. Absolutely. But I don't get what this obsession has become of one, already creating a perception of the movie without seeing it, seeing snippets through Reels and Twitter, and then if it's not performing well, film of course. So then that's 80% of the films anyway are not declared hits. I don't think 80% of the films are that bad. You know, that's why 83, you know, I didn't even kind of mind Jayesh Bhai Jordar. I thought Ranveer was good in that also. But this perception that he was a disaster star, he can't act, namoona hai, it's all a perception of these paparazzi videos which had become, you know, saturated. He had wearing bright colors and he's expressing himself, which people didn't like. But you're forgetting he's the same guy from Band Baja Barat and Padmavat and Lutera and everything.
And Gully Boy and everything. He played Khilji as well. Everybody loved him when he played Khilji. मेरे को लगता है खिलजी अगर आज के वो पॉलिटिकल एनवायरनमेंट में प्ले करता तो उसको इस बात के लिए भी बॉयकॉट कर देंगे कि इसको खिलजी का रोल क्यों दिया है तुमने.
और कहते हैं भाई ये तो बड़ा स्टाइलिश बना दिया इससे, तो अरे कितना बैडआस सा बना दिया.
Bro, ये और तीसरी चीज ये, the two things you mentioned, और the third thing is कि evaluating the success and the quality of a film on its box office numbers. ये बहुत ज्यादा स्टिकलर एक सिंड्रोम हो गया है इसका, किसी का भाई किसी की जानना बहुत, मैंने रोस्ट करती शुरुआत से लेके लास्ट तक, राइट? आई न्यू व्हाट वाज कमिंग एंड आई न्यू पीपल, मेरे को याद है जब तुम लोग यहाँ पे मूवीज ना 12 घंटे लेट रिलीज होती हैं, दैट्स व्हाई सर्टेन फिल्म्स दैट रिलीज ऑन द थिएटर, आई पुट इट लाइक, इफ यू पुट इट लाइक 12 or 1 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon, I would usually put it like 10 at night. So there's a gap, right? तो उससे पहले मेरे को याद है किसी का भाई किसी की जान में ट्रेलर आया था, राइट? उसके साथ पठान का टीजर आया था, टीजर दिया गया था, तो टीजर मेरे को पहले आ गया था जब तुम लोग थिएटर में बैठे थे. सो यू गाइस रिलीज पठान, आई रिलीज किसी का भाई किसी की जान टीजर, एंड इट गॉट हेटेड ऑन कि भाई सलमान भाई, उसमें सबसे ऐसे है तो सलमान भाई कूदते हैं, फिर जैकेट आती है, जैकेट पहन के नीचे आ जाते हैं, स्टफ लाइक दैट. आई कॉल्ड इट आउट एंड पीपल लाइक देखते हैं कलेक्शन कितनी होती है, ये कितना होता है, वो कितना होता है. ब्रो देयर वाज, इतना तो कोई बड़ी कलेक्शन भी नहीं थी, राइट? 100-125 करोड़ उसने कमाया, विच इज बेसिकली अ सलमान फिल्म एंड इट्स नथिंग, इट्स अ डड फॉर Salman.
Only on Eid day it got a huge spike, and then it was back to square one.
Back to square one because the film was extremely bad. The film was extremely bad, and you can actually get to see that हाँ ये बुरी है, right? इसमें बुरी होगी. अब ना एक चीज और हो गई है, everybody is comparing somebody else's success with Pathan for no reason. ये मैंने बहुत देखा है आजकल कि भाई अच्छा वो मुल्ला है, वो हल्का है, all these are the consistent spam comments that you get.
Yeah.
गदर पे बहुत आए मेरे को ये वाले कि पठान को तो तुमने मैंने कहा पठान का पूरा जाके रिव्यू देखो, 10 मिनट की वीडियो है, पहले 5 मिनट मैंने उसको प्रेज किया है, उसके 5 मिनट मैंने ये बहुत क्लियरली बोला है, अगर ये मूवी 0 के बाद आती देन दिस मूवी वुड हैव कंप्लीटली टैंक्ड. देयर इज अ ह्यूज नॉस्टैल्जिया फैक्टर.
Shan, but they don't want nuance. They don't want the fact that how can you have anything positive to say about something which I didn't like or which was so successful. You know, this was the craziest thing that I underwent during Brahmastra, okay? And I had like openly blasted the dialogues, openly said that the storyline is so generic and childlike, but that becomes separate because you appreciated the visuals. Okay? So, the fact that, see, when everything becomes popular in pop culture, you want to make several videos about it because you're talking about theories, you're talking about possibilities, you're thinking about superhero spin-offs, and that was allowed through Brahmastra, and everyone was putting in their 2-3 suggestions of what it could be. Now the fact that someone does 4 videos na, it becomes अच्छा PR कर रहा है, अच्छा promote कर रहा है, not looking at what the topic is, you know. When Pathan came out, I immediately was talking about how some of the dialogues were really cringeworthy, where all those boobles dialogues are happening, the jetpack is happening. All of these are pointed out as its negative aspects. But what they want, Shan, is you go Adi Purush mode. You go so angry that you absolutely annihilate it, and for their satisfaction, to to calm the herd down a bit. But I think the reason for a loyal fan base for to exist on your channel, or for anyone to slightly be interested in our point of views, is because we're not doing that.
That's our USP, I think. That's our USP. That's how we do not get sold out on things that other people do easily get sold out on. That's what I don't understand. Do not review a film if you don't have an opinion. If you just want to say what 100,000 other people are saying, you are not a reviewer. It's as simple as that.
किसी का भाई किसी की जान. I fail to understand anyone looking at a redeeming quality in that movie. Unless you're a full-blown Salman Khan fan. Even, by the end of it, when its lifetime box office got over, Salman fans were posting on Twitter, please don't work with these kind of directors. Please don't work on your Berozgar Yojana and give roles to random actors. So imagine that there's a realization a month later, which we stood by on the first weekend.
Yes, it's unbelievable to see how people turn around, and the same thing is going to happen for Gadar, bro. I'm telling you, that film is going to turn out to be a C-grade Bhojpuri film, and they are going to ruin the legacy of the first film just because कि भाई एक विम है कि नॉस्टैल्जिया पे खेल जाएंगे, थोड़ा बहुत कलेक्शन मिल जाएगी, फर्स्ट वीकेंड ये पे फिल्म कलेक्शन करेगी, उसके बाद आई डोंट थिंक सो ये फिल्म कुछ भी करने वाली है। जिस टाइम गदर 1 आई थी उस टाइम हाइटेंड थी नेशनलिज्म की, अभी भी हाइटेंड है, बट वी आर नॉट फ्रेश ऑफ फ्रॉम अ वॉर।
Yeah, it was right after 99, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. We were just coming off from a war and बहुत heightened थी nationalism की feelings. Now we are 23 years ahead of things. Things have changed, right? Of course, no, ये नहीं कोई कह रहा कि पाकिस्तान प्रेम दिखाओ, जबकि उसमें ट्रेलर लॉन्च इवेंट में सन्नी पाजी खुद बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे को सेंटिमेंट नहीं वो हेट करने वो करने हर्ट करने पाकिस्तान वालों के, एंड द पीपल आर कमिंग एंड टेलिंग मी आर यू अ पाकिस्तानी। मैं इतने सारे कमेंट आए मुझे आर यू अ पाकिस्तानी, मैंने कहा तो मैं अपना पासपोर्ट पाकिस्तान का करा लेता हूँ। इट्स इनसेन ब्रो, तुम जिसको डिफेंड कर रहे हो वो क्या बोल रहा है पब्लिक में जाके उसको देख तो लो पहले। ब्लाइंड हेट, दिस there would be nothing in the film bro, poor CGI, मैं तेरे को पहले लिखवा के कह रहा हूँ, poor CGI, you know the background में वो जो लोग खड़े हैं जिनको सैनिक बनाया है इन्होंने पाकिस्तान मिलिट्री वाले, वो कौन है? वो कमांडो अकेडमी वाली वीडियोस देखी होंगी तूने YouTube देखी है वो नकली कमांडो अकेडमी चलाते हैं, मोटे लड़कों को कराते पतला करा देंगे 7 दिन में 7 किलो वजन, वो है वो, उन चीजों को पीछे खड़ा कर लिया है भाई। दैट्स द होल पॉइंट ऑफ दिस फिल्म।
You know what's crazy for me is, see, while we say this off the perception that we've created through the trailer, I know that me and you will still give it a chance. We'll still go to the theater hoping and wishing that there's some glimmer of hope, jo bhi ho. Huh? But for me, what blows my mind is, you know, whenever I do a teaser or trailer review or any thoughts about it, I tend to look at filmography of the director and whether there's been a come down in quality, whether there's been a case of a person always reinventing himself. With Anil Sharma, he's been an outdated director since he started. I'm telling you, you see from his first film from the late 80s to the early 90s, he's working with has-been actors like Dharmendra and Vinod Khanna past their prime doing movies like Farishte. Okay? And later doing movies like Singh Saab the Great and Genius, all of these movies. So this perception that now he's really going to reinvent himself, it's going to be the same stuff. So I don't know why people are like of this hope that something revolutionary is going to come.
Yeah, and I don't understand. There are certain type of sentiments that people share around a certain film, right? अगर कोई रीमेक होती है, if there's a reprise of दिल चाहता है, which I think Farhan Akhtar is making with the 3 women, right? Priyanka Chopra and all of those. That
Yeah,
film is
Ji Le
being,
Zara.
it's हाँ, जी ले जरा, maybe something like that, or probably that would be a good film since it's not a complete reprise of the thing. I'm talking about a remake or a sequel to Dil Chahta Hai, right? 22 years later. And then you know that a filmmaker like Farhan Akhtar is making it, right? There are talents in the film like Saif, like all of these guys, right? And then you see the trailer and then you are like, हाँ यार कुछ अच्छा आ रहा है, right? Because you know which production house it's coming from, what talent powerhouse is propelling the film, right? And then you see the trailer hits you and then it takes you back into the days like 20 years back this happened, and then you are sitting now, and now you all are 30. When it came out I was like 17, right? And then it will hit you. With Gadar it was completely different. When the trailer came out, in fact when they announced the film, I was like, why are they doing it? It's going to be cringe, right? It's going to be cringe, and I don't understand how this is not the sentiment of most of the people, because trailer सबको वही दिख रहा है जो हमें दिख रहा है यार.
You know, I feel, Shan, it's one optics. I feel like sadly the state of social media has also become polarizing, where last names are being taken as judgment of who you associate with. You know, like a Shah Rukh Khan celebration is considered to be a certain clique. Sunny Deol perception or celebration is considered to be certain clique. And all they equate it to is dar. हाँ, उसने उसका रोल छीन लिया, उसने अपनी पैंट फाड़ दी, all of this, whatever this is. So there are clear camps created already. And you're bang on about already getting an idea through the trailer. And you know, it's so clear. Today only I saw Guns and Gulab's Raj and DK's trailer.
Oh, fantastic.
And it looks so good, yaar. And you know they'll deliver. Those guys are so talented. So you get an idea of the vibe and something interesting. When I saw the Gadar 2 trailer, I wasn't keen on anything new. So
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
I think we've ranted
And
about
then-
Gadar 2 too much.
Yeah. I mean, the more you rant about it, the less it is, I feel.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
guess.
so fucking bad. And the hate was unfathomable for me, man. It was like कि यार मैं क्या बोलूँ इन्हें यार. Some people would agree with you. There are people जो हमारी loyal audience है, they'll agree with us. But then there are people, मैंने उसके thumbnail पे literally लिखा हुआ है गटर, right? तो पहले उस पर गोबर लिखा हुआ था, right? I do not hold back when it comes to trolling bad films and bad intentions. So तो आधे लोग जो मेरी जनता है, जो पहले से चैनल के सब्सक्राइबर्स है, दे आर नॉट द वंस हु आर अब्यूजिंग इन द कमेंट्स. ये जो बाहर से लोग इनको रेकमेंड हो रहा है ना, उन्होंने गटर देख लिया, ओ तो ये तो पाकिस्तानी है, इसको गाली बको जाके. That's the thing that happened.
Apparently, what also happened with my video was that some people were directed towards my video, and all those comments were either about Pathan or that खुद तू नेपोटिज्म गैंग को सपोर्ट करता है, ये अगर अपने बेटे को रीलॉन्च करना चाहता है तो तेरी क्या प्रॉब्लम है. And I was like, look at all my reviews if I've called out Sara Ali Khan, Arjun Kapoor, Sonam Kapoor, Janhvi Kapoor, anything related to their acting talent. I haven't cared about their lineage or whatever, wherever they come from. I've called it out. But
Absolutely.
But when hate gets directed कि इस साले ने ये बोला, इसे ये बोलो, फिर वो nuance और वो कुछ नहीं रहता, फिर बस hate ही आएगा. But I've learned to realize, you know, Shan, social media outrage, not at least when it comes to movie characters, film criticism, 3 दिन में भूल जाते हैं. 3 दिन में भूल जाते हैं and they move on to the next thing to get enraged about or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They don't remember it, and ये पता है, a lot of this hate actually comes from a very orchestrated PR net, media net. Right? जैसे some people, just like Shehnaz Gill, I roasted Shehnaz Gill. That video did really well, and I called out Shehnaz on the bigotry, right? On the things that she portrays she is, but she's not, clearly. You go through her, it's not about her demeanor, how she carries herself. It's not about that. It's about कि वो क्या portray करना चाह रही है in the public eye and what she is actually, and it comes out in her interview. She is not that intelligent कि उसको तू dual personality दे दे कि तूने सुबह 8 बजे तक ऐसे होना है, 8 बजे के बाद तूने ऐसे होना है. She'll get confused. वो अपनी कहीं ना कहीं उसकी ना जो असली पर्सनालिटी है वो सीप इन हो जाएगी. और वो इसके इंटरव्यूज तो जितने देखेगा ना, यू विल गेट टू नो दैट शी डज नॉट इवन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट्स हैपनिंग एंड हाउ दिस क्लाउड दैट शी इज गॉटन ओवर टाइम राइट आफ्टर बिग बॉस, वो आया कहाँ से, right? And she's riding on the wave because there are 10 other people associated with her fame and popularity, and they're making her do shows that make no sense at all, right? And the big ass celebrities who she's hosting on her channel they are only there because Salman Bhai ki picture mein hai and she's in Salman Bhai's good books. That's about it, I'm telling you. Nobody would have come to her show.
I saw an interview of her with Shahid Kapoor, and you could just clearly tell Shahid Kapoor's not getting it. What is going on? What are the questions being asked? He's like, why am I here?
और वो उस वाले शो के ना सारे के सारे सेलिब्रिटीज को देख लिया तू. एवरीबॉडी इज लाइक दैट. दे आर वंडरिंग व्हाट इज दिस वुमन इवन अबाउट एंड हाउ आर वी सिटिंग ऑन दिस शो, एंड दे ऑल हैव टू डू इट बिकॉज दे नो दिस शी इज इन द गुड बुक्स ऑफ सलमान्स. सो आई वाज सेइंग कि मैंने उसको रोस्ट किया. There are about 5,000-7,000 comments on the video alone, and everybody is in support. Although when we were putting out the video, we thought बहुत ज़्यादा hate आएगी, right? YouTube पे hate नहीं आई, but I pressed the publish button within 10 minutes of the release. मेरे Instagram, मैंने खोला Instagram and टन तेरी माँ तेरी बहन की ये है वो है भर दिया भाई. For 2-3 straight days I was buried under hate.
Yeah.
Like, and मुझे पता था ये PR मीडिया नेट होते हैं ना, इनके जो फैन क्लब्स नहीं देखे तूने, शहनाज की फैन, ये वाली फैन, वो वाली फैन, ये भांग, ये सारे, they all congregated and they actually came at me like a force, right? कि जो इसको बताते हैं कि शहनाज कौन है. And these people don't understand when you, a normal person like us, who has been on social media for a good amount of time, they know how to differentiate between a bot generated comment and a comment that's coming from an actual person, right? तो यही उसमें मैं देख रहा था कि एक ही कमेंट आ रहा है कि एक गाली आएगी तो लगातार आएगी. So a lot of this hate I've started usually starting initially मैंने इसको दिल पे ले लेता था कभी कभार. I used to go get into this rabbit hole of thinking कि हाँ भाई मैं कहाँ के स्पाइरल में जा रहा हूँ. But then I was like, fuck it, yeah. These PR tactics and shit like that, they वही just तूने बोला बिल्कुल सही bang on बोला तूने कि 2 या 3 दिन में भूल जाएंगे ये सारी चीजें.
No, and you know, see the loyal fan followings on Twitter and Instagram, especially of the Big Boss pass outs. It's it is PR generated to the point where you can clearly tell that they are AI driven and automated and almost to the point of being laughable, on some of the comments. But what I noticed, at least from, say, what happens is whenever a movie is very religiously charged, and I remember the movement was extremely toxic during Raksha Bandhan and Lal Singh Chadda's release. Okay, and what happened was when I post a video, it will average, say on a regular video, average around 1500 2000 comments. Okay. But it slowly builds up from 500 to 1000 over the 24-hour cycle. But what I noticed the moment I dropped the video was that I had 3500 comments in the first hour. Okay. And what's hilarious is your subscriber base then starts identifying it. Oh, they've come. They've taken over the comment section. Jammy, be ready. It's coming. So you can clearly tell who's authentic and who comes for your content versus guys who looked at the thumbnail and are like, okay, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. और तेरा सबसे बड़ा बढ़िया filter मुझे पता क्या लगता है, the way you put your point across and that too in English, that puts a good ass filter कि हाँ अब जो छप रही होगा तो समझ ही नहीं आएगा तू बोल क्या रहा है, right?
No, see, वो English के और वो जो होता है वो तो random वो comments आते ही आते हैं. The thing that benefits me is that benefits me and is a huge deterrent to my growth is English. So what happens is that I do not penetrate much into North India, but I have a huge subscriber base in the south of India. So Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh watch the channel a lot, but a lot of North India Hindi speaking belt doesn't. It does filter out the abuse a bit more, but if I don't like a Telugu film, the abuse is as much. So you know what's the dichotomy that I or the catch-22 that I deal with is that if I am the North Indian boy from Jammu and Kashmir who has loved Kerala, any movie that's coming out from Tamil Nadu or Kerala, I am the guy who has embraced all the cultures and is acknowledging India to be beyond Hindi cinema. If I don't like it, then I'm the uncultured North Indian who doesn't understand anything. So, ये दो हमेशा ही रहेंगे.
हाँ but do you think, जैसे तूने खुद ही realize करी ये चीज़ कि that it has been a deterrent in your success, do you think anytime in future you would be switching to like at least 50% or 30% of Hindi?
I think I do it episodically. I think I do only the English on my Matlab Kuch Bhi episodes, which is a mostly entertaining episode on like past cinema and stuff. But you know, Shan, what's the situation is that I am come from an English medium school, so when I imbibe information, it's being processed in English. So when I want to communicate something, I can only in my eye contact just see English words floating around. So if I do it just for this sake of optics, I feel like that would not communicate something clearly, which I can very well articulate in English. What's issue मेरा हो जाता है कि जब हिंदी में अगर करोगे ना, तो फिर वो जो बात मैं बहुत ब्यूटिफुली इंग्लिश में कह सकता था, वो बड़ी बेसिक हिंदी में फिर मैं कहूँगा. और फिर जो मेरा इंटेंशन था वो कम्युनिकेट नहीं होगा, एक बड़े सरफेस लेवल पे होगा. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I haven't made the business entirely in Hindi or in or a 70-30 split consciously. Though I do see it helps in ad rates to be in English because people are watching it outside as well. But with Hindi, you definitely reach a bigger audience in India. I wonder about it many times. It's still growing, so it's not as if there's a huge decline in people coming in. But I do think about it constantly when people I see in the social media space especially who've transitioned to Hindi for business sake, and they've been showered with great opportunities because of just the amount of population they penetrated towards.
I think you would do great in Hindi as well because you articulate your thoughts very well before speaking. You think about it, you think about the film, then you think. And तूने जैसे बोला that I also come from a convent school, so all of the talks, everything, all of our diction, all of our pronunciations, these are rooted back to our school, to our school times, right? You can get to know from speaking with a person like वो कैसे किसी चीज़ को dictate कर रहा है, कैसे oratory skills कैसे हैं उसके, and you come to a point कि हाँ यार ये put on नहीं कर रहा है English. He knows how to speak in English, and the same thing happens when I watch your thing, that I know that he knows how to articulate his thoughts. He's just not doing it for clout. So that's the best thing about your channel, and that adds a छपरी filter कि आधे छपरी तेरे को गाली देने आएंगे, उनको समझ ही नहीं आएगा हो क्या रहा है.
Because, yeah. Because you know what, the most amount of hate that I probably got was when I had spoken about foreign reaction channels. Okay, that's so, and this was peak pandemic when Shan viewership was at its highest and engagement was the craziest, and the entire argument became not about what I said, but who I targeted. I remember I had done the video because I had got a bit annoyed because they were reacting to India under lockdown, Mumbai under lockdown. And then what happened was that Rishi Kapoor and Irfan Khan had passed away. And then they reacted to like 7 songs and 10 songs, 10 movie scenes and all of that. In the disguise of, this is an homage to him. People would get pissed off if we don't do this dedication. मैं कहा ये सब ढोंग है, ये सब कुछ, और तुम बस और रेकमेंड करते रहो उन्हें वीडियोस, और वो
भाई
बस
सबसे बड़ा ढोंग तो तूने सही बोला जो सुशांत सिंह के साथ हुआ है यार. सबसे बड़ा ढोंग, the thing that is not dying down, people are not letting that man's soul rest in peace, are the same people. Justice for SSR are the same people who have not watched more than 2 films of that person. उन्होंने 2 पिक्चरें भी नहीं देखी होंगी इसकी. And I'm pretty sure, तेरे को पता है, if you go back like 7-8 years back, सुशांत सिंह राजपूत को भी बॉयकॉट किया था इन्होंने. He was also boycotted on Twitter. कुछ हुआ था, उसने सुशांत सिंह राजपूत हटा दिया था अपने सरनेम के आगे से. And then there was an outrage कि तूने क्यों हटाया. There was something like this. We are working on a hypocrisy video, special video we are doing, and I'm jotting out all the facts from 10 years ago that किस हीरो को, जिसको अभी बहुत बड़ा हीरो बना रखा है, सेलिब्रेट कर रखा है, जिसके लिए जस्टिस मांग रहे हैं, तुमने उसको कैसे इग्नोर किया था in the past as well, right? Sushant Singh was a talent powerhouse, but he was not given his the share of attention that he deserves, right?
You know what's crazy is, Shan, that there was massive outrage during Kedarnath because it was love jihad. Huh?
Right.
That's what they were criticizing the film about. But post his passing away, everyone forgot about how they were coming after him for that, especially Kaipo Che, many people bring about in terms of how it dealt with religious politics and how it presented Amit Saad as the right-wing extremist and how anti-Hindu it is. So, you know, you're celebrating the man for his talent, and that should be the cause that you stand up for, not and not saying that you did that throughout his career. He was considered underrated till Chichore also because you weren't giving him that attention. It's crazy.
Son Chidiya, man. Son Chidiya is a glaring example of how a good film can go down the drain because nobody's interested in watching it. And then when the man passes away, तुम आते हो और बोलते हो यार हमने तो बॉयकॉट करो, करण जौहर ने मरवा दिया या बॉलीवुड ने उसको मरवा दिया एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. जब वो था तब तुमने उसकी कितनी पिक्चरें देख ली भाई, और कितनों ने देख ली. एंड द सेम थिंग गोस टू सिद्धार्थ शुक्ला को ओवरनाइट लोगों ने रिकॉग्नाइज ही उसकी डेथ के बाद किया. उसके बिग बॉस में एक 3 महीने के लिए रिकॉग्निशन मिला, वहां से बाहर आया, ही बिकेम एन ओवरनाइट सेलिब्रिटी. उससे पहले सिद्धार्थ शुक्ला को कितने लोग पूछते थे यार, और तुमने उसको ओवरनाइट ही सेलिब्रिटी बना दिया. नाउ यू आर सेलिब्रेटिंग हिम बिकॉज ही इज नो मोर विद अस. सो इजंट दिस हिपोक्रेसी? ये hypocrisy नहीं है. when the talent is alive and well and living in front of your eyes, you do not celebrate him.
Shan, it's crazy, and that story is prevalent even today for 30-40 actors. I can name several actors who've come on the channel also who are considered to be underrated. No one recognizes it even today. You look at Gulshan Devaiya, you look at Avinash Tiwari from Laila Majnu, you look at Mrunal Thakur, Sania Malhotra, all of these people who are crazy talented, who are not getting the same opportunities, but जब उनकी पिक्चर आती है लिमिटेड व्यूअरशिप मिलती है उन्हें. So you want to stand up for change. You want the industry not to be as incestuous. You don't want it to be an echo chamber of just nepotism babies. But you want to be like, screw nepotism, screw this. When Rocky or Rani's trailer drops, everyone is interested from the minutest of details कि ये गलत है, वो गलत है, ये गलत है. कोई मतलब कि तुम अभी विजय वर्मा का जियो सिनेमा में वेब सीरीज आया हुआ है, कौन देख रहा है, कौन बात कर रहा है,
कोई नहीं देख
बस वही है. देन इट्स अबाउट परफॉर्म सोशल मीडिया, व्हाट इज इट, परफॉर्मेटिव एक्टिविज्म. दिखाना है कि भाई देखो आई एम स्टैंडिंग अप फॉर दिस, बट एक्चुअली एक्टिवली वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स क्रिएटिंग दो स्टार्स, क्रिएटिंग शाहरुख एंड सुशांत, वो नहीं है, अभी भी नहीं है.
नहीं, एब्सोल्युटली नहीं. सिलेक्टिव आउटरीच है ना, उनको पता है कि ये लोग यूजुअल सस्पेक्ट्स हैं. आफ्टर 2020 व्हाट हैड हैपेंड इज, वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस इनिशियली इन द पॉडकास्ट, कि कैसे लोगों ने हेट पे चैनल बिल्ड कर लिया अपना. आई एम टेलिंग यू, आई कैन टेल यू सम ऑफ द मोस्ट नोन रिव्यूअर्स फ्रॉम आवर फ्रेटर्निटी हु बिल्ट देयर सब्सक्राइबर बेस ऑन हेट, ऑन रोस्टिंग करण जौहर. आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस कि आज मैं करण जौहर की मारूंगा, आज मैं ये करूंगा, और ये मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूंगी, ये मैं सच नहीं बोल सकती, एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. ऑल दैट शिट वाज गोइंग अराउंड, राइट? एंड दीज गाइज वर हेटिंग फुल ऑन, लाइक प्रोजेक्टाइल हेट, लाइक प्रोजेक्टाइल वॉमिट होती है ना, मुंह खोलो एंड यू वॉमिट राइट टुवर्ड्स समबडी विद ऑल योर पावर दैट यू हैव. बट उसके बाद when things started dying down, things started coming back to normal, which they had to. All of this hate just seeped away. It just went. I don't know what happened to these guys, right? And now they are praising their films, and now they're doing their PR.
You know what's crazy, Ashan? That what happened was that during the pandemic, I also got invested a lot in that news cycle. That Sushant case really did disturb me, and you know, for a while I was like, what is going on, what is happening and stuff. And because the news cycle was so rampant, because we were stuck in our homes, because we were constantly talking about what's happening in the news cycle, I started giving heed to a lot of these random conspiracy theories that were being passed, and these new villains being created every week or so. And then I realized that I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun to the point of being very reactionary and probably insensitive. So I remember doing a 30-minute talk with a journalist, Akash Banerjee, where I did a episode on how we probably got manipulated in several instances by the media because they were only considered about clicks. The same guys who were saying justice for SSR, they, like all of these newscasters over there, couldn't care less now.
Oh, absolutely.
So I remember being called out for by mostly the regular subscriber base, so being like, good, you're acknowledging, probably getting ahead of yourself with your assessment of it. 99% of YouTubers do not retrospectively think कि गलती हो गई होगी यार. They move on to the next thing to say the polar opposite thing. The polar opposite thing. And they carry on. They carry on.
And they carry on. And they carry on. And then that's the subscriber base that they have as well. If you go into their comment sections, like I've seen, I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but very honestly, but I do read what's going on Reddit, because I think Reddit still has a lot of people. जैसे तेरे चैनल पे ज़्यादा छपरी नहीं आएंगे because of the language you use. Reddit, it's so difficult to use for certain people कि वहाँ पे आके तुम consistently तुम्हें thread join करना पड़ेगा. You would have to earn karma to comment. So वहाँ पे जो लोग आते हैं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि they know about their shit and what they're talking about. Maybe I would just read some stuff. तो वहाँ पे कुछ 2-3 usual suspect reviewers थे who actually made an entire, who set up a fielding sorts of a thing when the 2020 thing with Sushant happened. And ever since then, that was their point of blowing up. Their point of blowing up was not their content. It was the hate that they were plowing through that made them popular. And that was the thing when I was starting my channel, that I was like, I'm not a part of this. I'm not going to do this. And then one of my videos, very initial videos, 3rd or 4th video that blew up was blame yourself for nepotism, right? The same thing that we were talking about. Yeah, जब वो था, तुमने उसकी picture नहीं देखी, and now you're crying that he's gone, right? You should have actually watched his films and given him the time to grow as an actor, right? And then the surrounding things. See, a fraternity comes with a lot with different kind of personalities. And just like Manoj Bajpayee ji said in one of the interviews, that Sushant was a very gentle person, right? He couldn't take the hate that came his way. He couldn't take the selective nature of certain people like Karan Johar, as they say, that his nature is very selective and वो nepotism करता है and stuff like that, whatever it is. वो नहीं ले पाया वो वाली चीज़, and it hit him really hard, right? Manoj Vajpayee ji has been in the industry for over 22, 23 years now. Even more than that. And same goes for Pankaj Tripathi ji and Vijay Raj and everybody, right? All of these guys are walking through the thick of it. And now they are getting their due now, right? 22 years later.
But imagine
25
even
years.
after that, Manoj Bajpayee being the star of Family Man is still complaining about not getting enough pay compared to the big stars. So,
Oh, yeah. See, that's what the thing is.
22 years later also, the people who we consider to be the best of the best are still at that point where they're complaining about so many things. So imagine, so I think Manoj Bajpayee sir also, I had the privilege of speaking to him also 2 months ago, where he said that, you can't have a goal to become a star in this state. Because the moment you become, you have an idea that I want to become a superstar, then it's a never-ending goal where you will be dissatisfied in every instance of success. If you're here to become an actor and get jobs because you love the craft, then there will be some sense of belonging over here, despite the struggle. That's why, they've created their hermit kingdoms and some form of happiness, even in the limited work that they got, because they loved acting. But the moment you have a thing ki hero banna hai, then it's a slippery slope, I feel, of mental health, being, all constantly thinking about the fact that you're not doing enough. I feel like it's scary.
And I think iska ek example Nawazuddin Siddiqui hai. The recent things that he has done and the recent interviews that he has appeared on, how he speaks about things is, I think there's a lot of frustration that he's not getting lead roles. Right.
Shan, it's reflected on the mediocre work also. So, you're saying no to parts because you think that you deserve leading roles. It's leading to such embarrassing work and also affecting the goodwill that you developed initially in your career.
Absolutely, right.
I saw that Tikku Wed Sheru and I just couldn't.
Oh my God. It's a terrible film. And that coming from Nawaz is like, I still hold him to the highest of accords a person can be held on. Like when it comes to acting, when it comes to how he carries himself, how good of an actor he is, he's still a very, very fine actor. Probably one of the best actors that we have in the country right now. But the whole thing is that he wants to be the lead hero, and that is not going to be possible, man. That is not how things work.
Yeah, you look at if a guy like Saif Ali Khan now has basically understood that I probably don't need to do leading roles and ensemble casts or as an antagonist. I think I'm best suited there. If a Vijay Sethupathi, who's a massive star in Tamil cinema, can do several part roles which are not massive. Fahad Fasil, you look at in Malayalam cinema, he does several roles which are part of bigger pictures. You can't restrict yourself ki mujhe hero banna hai, yaar. I think that's why also a lot of people talk about Govinda, on why there hasn't been the man was a superstar in the late 90s and why there's a sense of him being in obscurity now is because he still wants to dance with the heroine as a leading man. Aur wo ab nahi ho sakta.
Nahi ho sakta. But do you think this thing applies to the Khans as well?
It's scary, yeah, because I was listening to an interview of Salman, and he said that he doesn't want to end his career by playing supporting roles after being that leading hero. Say the transition that happened with Amitabh Bachchan in the late 90s of doing Mohabbatein and doing the father roles eventually. I feel like Aamir Khan will assimilate really well that way because I feel like he will do those supporting roles. But there is such an ego that comes with this profession as well. I feel like a lot of them will not be down for it because they've seen things at such a high. It will be, I hope it's not the case. I hope they do embrace being character driven roles. But they talk about Rajesh Khanna. They talk about the men who were at the top of their game. And they just couldn't deal with being irrelevant anymore. So they kept on fighting age while doing terribly mediocre work, while aging constantly and trying to romance young women and doing those B-grade films. But it always then creates a really sour relationship with the fans who loved you back in the day and now are
Yeah,
looking at you and getting embarrassed.
Yeah, I've seen my mother getting embarrassed watching Devanand Saab. You remember when Devanand Saab was later last 15, 16 years of his career, it was like such a pain to watch him, yeah. Even when we did not grow up directly watching his films, his songs, his films were always on the television. Our families were enjoying his presence in the house through a screen, right? And whenever we used to go on road trips with our families back in summer holidays, back to 10, 15 years ago, my dad was an avid listener of Devanand songs. राइट और उनके बाद देख उनको वो अपने से 25, 30, 30, 40 साल छोटी लड़कियों के साथ लास्ट के 10 साल आए हैं एंड ही कंप्लीटली डिस्ट्रॉयड हिज लेगेसी.
I will never forget Shan watching movies like Avval Number and watching there were several movies where he had the same actress and it's just the performances were so bad. It was Love Pay Times Square ऐसी कोई picture थी. Such terrible acting.
Yeah, he was working up till I was in college, man. Up till I was in college. I'm 32 now. He was working when I was like still what 20 to 23, and Devanand was still around working with doing some random B grade films. And why? Like, we appreciate your enthusiasm to be like let's say ki the longevity that they talk about, ki we need to have this longevity in the role in our careers. That's fine, but you have to adapt. That's why I think Amitabh Bachchan took the right turn, because he loved working so much and he realized at the same time that now my time as a lead action hero is up. I have to like choose a different path now. Now अब मेरे को यहाँ से right और left लेना है, वो मेरे पे depend करता है. I don't think so Salman bhai would ever do it, but Shahrukh, I think Shahrukh deep down inside, Shahrukh is such a fine actor. He's such a self-analytical person that he would realize कि हाँ अब मैं ये कर सकता हूँ, because he also started off his career in negative roles, right? And तुम मुझसे आज भी पूछ लो, उसके पिछले interviews जाके चले जाओ, people forget the fact that Shahrukh is an extremely intelligent person when it comes to सिलेक्टिंग रोल्स. वो तो याद एक पीयर प्रेशर होता है, ओवर टाइम यू गेट इट. कि भाई तन्मय के साथ एक उसका वो था इंटरव्यू जहाँ पे मजाक में वो कहता है शाहरुख खान कि यार मैं क्या करूँ, लोग मैं ये करता हूँ, लोग कहते हैं ये बेकार है, मैं करता हूँ ये बेकार है. But at the end of the day, when you see Shahrukh, how he's trying to pivot himself now, like he took a sabbatical for 4 years, now he's back. So he's trying to pivot himself in a very different picture, and that's the demand. That's not the real Shahrukh that we are watching. The real Shahrukh is like 5-7 years ago was the real Shahrukh that we were watching. Now the Shahrukh that we are watching on the screen is pivoting to the demands of the people, what they want to watch.
You're bang on about it. He was like, now I'm doing cinema that people want to see. So, he is creatively taking risks with Ravan. He is going out of his way to do something crazy from a technical standpoint in Zero. But these are massive risks, which he probably understands is a 50-50 of a complete failure or people will hail him as this visionary. But now, he knows what the product is, he knows what the flavor is, and he's catering to it, yaar. And I am honestly not complaining. If Jawan can really deliver me a combination of both larger than life and something compelling, I will be super down for it. Is it going to be nuanced to the point of being a super cerebral experience? I don't think so. It's going to be balls to the wall, it's going to be crazy. And people will love and celebrate it. People fail to acknowledge what that communal experience is and what Pathan was capable of doing because of that 4-year hiatus.
Absolutely.
Shan, it almost felt like, Arey bhai, 4 saal baad, when I saw him, I was like, I haven't seen him in so long. That's something probably Akshay Kumar lost,
he lost that.
Where every month we were going and watching him.
Yeah. It might as well make a web series, man. You're so much on the screen, just might as well make a web series and let it roll on for at least a week, right? So Akshay Kumar lost this thing and he's still paying for it, and he will pay for it if he does not deliver an extremely good film. But
you were talking about it. Oh My God 2. I actually think that it might surprise us.
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, Oh My God is a very fine film. The topic that it deals with, but वो पिक्चर बुरी तरह क्रिटिसाइज होगी, अभी भी हो रही है, जबकि कुछ भी नहीं आया है अभी तक उसका. वो क्रिटिसाइज होगी इसलिए, सिर्फ और सिर्फ इसलिए, क्योंकि लोगों को समझ नहीं आ रहा वो क्या किस चीज़ के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. वो कह रहे हैं कि शिव जी को और तुमने मिला दिया यहाँ पे. को मिला दिया है. So this is the point of hate. This is the epicenter of hate, where the hate will begin from. Now this hate you will see in the next 1 week, up till the point the movie comes out, and the next 10 days after the movie's release, this hate will seep out. It will branch out into different angles कि वहाँ पे कैसे गलत भभूत लगा दी. They will start nitpicking things, completely keeping aside कि भैया क्या होने वाला है फिल्म में. What is the important topic they are trying to address. एंड अभी तो हमें पता भी नहीं है कि शिव जी का कितना रोल है उसके अंदर. क्या अब तो 27 कट्स लगा दिए, मॉडिफिकेशंस बोला गया है उनको. 15 साल में पहली ऐसी फिल्म है अक्षय कुमार की जिसको ए सर्टिफिकेट मिला है.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So Akshay Kumar is also now he's going out on a limb taking an A certificate, जबकि उसको पता है कि मेरी आज तक 15-20 साल में कोई भी A सर्टिफिकेट वाली पिक्चर नहीं हुई, और उसके बावजूद भी they are not choosing it to release on an OTT platform. They are putting it out on the theaters. So that's a huge risk for him. And the hate that it is already attracting, he knows about it, that this is going to happen. So you are
what's
right. मैं तो
crazy
completely
is-
agree करता हूँ.
You're absolutely bang on about it seeping away post the release, where it will be screenshots on Twitter of, oh my god, look at what they're doing. What I always stay away from is assuming what the film will be and then creating an already perception of it. Screw this film, I'm going to boycott it. Because I remember when Padmavat happened, I remember the abuse and death threats Deepika Padukone was getting, all on the basis of this perceived notion that Alauddin Khilji and Rani Padmavati have a scene together. Grahan, a movie on the Sikh riots, presented a frame of a guy with long hair standing with a mashal. Okay? Immediately, a few MPs and ministers from Punjab started a boycott campaign that they want to present a Sikh being a part of the riots. Okay, all assuming from the trailer that this is the intention of the creator, and it was far from it. और जब रिव्यूज आने लग गए, लोगों ने बोलना शुरू कर दिया, वो सब भाग जाते हैं, सब दूर चले जाते हैं. वो उस रिएक्शनरी रीट्वीट्स के लिए, वो इंगेजमेंट के लिए आते हैं, फिर भाग जाते हैं.
Yeah, the point is that the internet in our country is at a point of such cheapness in terms of availability and in terms of like procuring that internet power कि यार मैं 10 रुपए 20 रुपए भी दूंगा तो महीने भर के लिए मेरे पास अनलिमिटेड इंटरनेट है 50 रुपए 100 रुपए में. Everybody can afford it. So internet penetration has gone to the roots of the country, while meanwhile education and literacy hasn't. That's the point.
That's a great point. You should quote that. Write a bloody t-shirt on it. Sell it as merchandise. Too good.
तो वो एजुकेशन एंड लिटरेसी हैजंट. तो उन लोगों को ना कोई मतलब नहीं है तो पिक्चर में क्या टॉपिक दिखा रहा है. उनको बस ये समझ आ रहा है कि हमारे भगवान को और भैया को एक साथ मिला दिया तुमने और ये वाला सीन हो गया. तो वहां से आउटरेज सेकंड टीयर सिटीज और थर्ड टीयर सिटीज से शुरू हो जाती है. देन इट स्टार्ट स्क्रॉलिंग क्रीपिंग अप इनटू द टीयर 1 सिटीज. ऑल्दो टीयर 1 सिटीज में हेट का इतना पेनिट्रेशन नहीं है, बिकॉज द ऑडियंस दैट यू एंड आई केटर आर द प्राइम एग्जांपल ऑफ द ऑडियंसेस that understand what we are talking about, that understand films like Oh My God 1 and Oh My God 2 and PK. PK was a fantastic film, and just imagine for a moment that PK अगर आज के political scenario में release होती तो क्या होता. सोच.
Dude, it's insane on, you're so right about the caution with which majority of our subscribers, and that's why I really love the comment section and the great debates that start over there, because there are takes which are informed, and there are retorts, like rebuttals and actual debates happening in that comment section. There's no way PK releases again with the amount that they've extracted from that film and out of context created a villain out of Amir Khan. I feel like no way. Imagine Satyamev Jayate, yaar, Shan. Will that ever be a reality? Rang De Basanti.
Rang De Basanti. People would be beheaded for making that film right now. Half the actors would have been literally trolled to death, I'm telling you. Rang De Basanti had come out.
And a lot of people are recognizing its brilliance after after Bawal came out, of the parallels it was creating with historical figures.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, you're celebrating it now. Had it released today, boycott campaigns would be out of this world.
Yeah. हाँ, I watched Bawal, but I could not review it क्योंकि 2-3 मेरे ख्याल उस दिन प्रॉपर्टीज एक साथ आ गई थी हमारी सारी. So I could not do it, but I saw your review and the parallels that you also drew with the whole thing. Then and I thought कि हाँ यार ये कितना सही बोल रहा है, क्योंकि जब मैंने पहला first 45 minutes, I think Bawal was a very good film. It had me laughing, it kept me hooked कि होने क्या वाला है. But then they reach Paris and they दे आर ऑल ओवर द fucking place कि भाई वो वहां पे मेरठिया भाषा में बात कर रही है, भाई उसका एक्सेंट अलग है, एंड देन शी लैंड्स एंड दी कंप्लीटली बिकम्स अ Delhiite. I
No,
don't
but
understand.
and this almost informed been across Europe, and this point of her being what really like rubbed me the wrong way was they introduce her, हाँ वो independent है, वो बहुत ही bright है, and then she obviously is desperate for love, so she marries this guy. And now this girl who is so well versed with the world and educated is dealing with the abuse for 6 months. Because, and now I am being told that, because we still live in a patriarchal world, so a girl still wants to make the marriage work because it's so rare for them to find anything. Ye wo. But the abuse is this first 6 months, he doesn't look at her. They don't share the same bed. They don't spend time together. So what redeeming quality does he have that she's sticking on? कुछ नहीं दिखाया, हाँ.
नहीं
And
दिखाया.
what's crazy to me is that in reply now Varun and Janvi, they sat for an interview after the movie and they gave a reply of where are these people who are criticizing us for the film when a Telugu dubbed film reaches in Hindi, or when Oppenheimer has a scene of the Gita. हाँ, सो ये वही वॉट अबाउटिज्म हो गई ना कि फिर अच्छा मैं गलत हूँगा पर तुम वहां पर कब थे जब ये हुआ था. But me, you, and at least the people who are informed are calling them out. But
Right,
you're
right,
looking at the majority Twitter का ये कि best film है, Oppenheimer best film है and all of that. And you're defending your film by not giving us a reason. What is the reason why you say कि हम भी तो सब हिटलर जैसे हैं? And that parallel to fix your relationship is just, it was too much of a leap, yaar.
I mean, you are taking your relationship, which is like a relationship out of the million of relationships that we have on this planet, and you take it to one of the worst crises that human history has ever seen. And what mockery are you trying to make out of it? And Varun Dhawan standing there in a green screen room and acting like he's standing in Auschwitz is the most cringe thing that I've seen, bro. I've seen films. I'm a war movie buff, right? I've seen documentaries on wars. I've seen Holocaust movies on things. I've seen films that will completely move you and will not let you sleep at night, right? That whole Holocaust thing was so bad. And
I can still understand, Shan, where you go to somewhere where it was a traumatic part of our history and gain perspective. I can still understand that कि तुम वहाँ गए, तुम्हें पता चला कि यार तू छोटी मोटी चीजों के बारे में जो मतलब कि बकवास करते रहता है, सोचो जिंदगी में क्या क्या हुआ है,
क्या
you know,
हुआ होगा.
And this concept of us thinking that we live in the worst time today, not realizing that there was a part of the world which was marred by war constantly. हाँ, at least वो थोड़ा पर्सपेक्टिव के लिए ठीक है, बट तुम जब उसे एक सोल्यूशन ट्रिगर के लिए यूज करते हो कि अब हम बीवी और हस्बैंड अब हैप्पीली एवर आफ्टर, ऑशविट्स ने हमें सच्चाई दिखा दी. You're like, what?
और वो हिस्ट्री टीचर है, दैट्स द होल पॉइंट, राइट? तुमने चलो ये भी अच्छी बाधा बांध दी कि वो इतना इंटरेस्टेड नहीं था अपनी टीचिंग्स में, कभी इसमें कभी उसमें, बट व्हेन यू हैव बीन टीचिंग द सेम थिंग फॉर ओवर ईयर्स, you certainly know about certain things, right? He completely acts bewildered when he's in Auschwitz. He's like कि यार अगर तू 5 से 7 8 साल से किसी एक ही चीज को, एक ही चैप्टर को बार बार पढ़ा रहा है, राइट? इट वुड बी इन योर सबकॉन्शियस. हम सब ने देखा है, हमारी हिस्ट्री टीचर्स को किताब खोले बिना पता होता था कि क्या हुआ था वहां पे. एंड व्हेन यू रीड अबाउट सर्टेन कैलामिटी सो मच, देयर इज सर्टेन पॉइंट इन द टाइम वुड कम वेयर यू वुड बी लाइक हाँ यार बहुत ज्यादा बुरा हुआ होगा एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. बट ही वाज लाइक कंप्लीटली फाइन कि यार मैं तो कल पढ़ के आया हूं, आज मैं ऑशविट्ज आ गया, वो क्या हो गया एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट, एंड ही इज ऑल bewildered. So that's what surprises me. This whole concept of the film was they had their hearts in the right place, but the execution fell apart. Yeah, ये पेपर पे बहुत अच्छा लगा होगा कि ऑशविट्ज दिखाएंगे, किसी ने किया नहीं, ये नहीं किया, but then when it came to execution it completely fell apart. Completely.
But for me the worst in the explanation part was Nitish Tiwari was asked, why did you use the World War II? Why did you use the German tragedy? And he said, we've seen many Hindi movies which have done Kargil war, which have done many of the wars that India has been associated with, so I wanted to do something different. And I was like, ये explanation different. I got,
उन्हें खुद भी भरोसा नहीं था. एक तो they released the film on the weekend of Oppenheimers and Barbies. So they tanked themselves out. As simple as that. Acha, you were talking about this whataboutism. There's this reviewer, I would not like to call his name out. But he's very religious. You would get to know the whole context. और कल परसों मेरे ख्याल उसने सबको पेड रिव्यूअर बोल दिया जिनको रॉकी रानी पसंद आई है. और पता नहीं किसी ने रील में टैग किया था हमें, तेरे को भी टैग किया हुआ था उसमें. The suspects of this movie reviewers, the people he's talking about is Jamie Pant, Shan Parashar, PJ Explained, and all of the guys who had given good reviews about Rocky Rani. And then how I salute that guy for one thing, that he pulls out religion out of anything.
Everything.
Out of anything and everything. That guy would break down everything down to Sanatan Dharma and Hinduism. How?
Shan,
Kaise?
I'll tell you one thing. His purpose is to call us out. Okay?
Yeah, that's
and
about it.
that is representative also of his dwindling, I feel like, viewership. And I feel like
absolutely.
the less attention we give that, the better, because he thrives on us even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's what the thing is.
And you know, Shan, what I really commend about you is a sense of objectivity that you have on what your thought is, and you are open to the fact that people can disagree with you. For him, things are fact. And anyone who disagrees with him is the enemy of the state. And I feel like that's a scary precedent to keep. And I feel like the more attention that is given, na, I feel kind of like icky about it whenever I think about him. When I started the channel, you know, I used to do theory listicles and explained endings and those kind of videos. I do them rarely here and there even today. And I credited him at one point of time way back because he used to make videos on movies and stories and ideology and thought processes, and it was a very, very interesting way with which he looked at films. And this I'm talking about in 2016-17, and you can see an evolution, or whatever the antithesis of that is, where you're right bang on about it, where everything has an agenda or purpose. And you're talking about integrating religion in every argument. And that's scary, man. It's very scary.
यार एक पठान के आसपास एक चीज शुरू हुई थी, ठीक है, कि सीआई कह रहा हूँ, रॉ का एक एजेंट रोग हो जाता है एंड देन ही वर्क्स अगेंस्ट द नेशन एंड वर्क्स विद आईएसआई एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. दैट्स अ गॉड डैम स्टोरी लाइन यार. वो कहानी है पिक्चर की. तुम उसको कहाँ से रिलेट कर रहे हो?
I can't believe people were calling ex-Raw agents on podcasts and saying Pathan के बारे में बताओ. And what? Pathan had no intention of being guarded in realism or anything. तुम ex-Raw agent से पूछ रहे हो कि ये सब होता है कि नहीं, एक था टाइगर होता है कि नहीं. What are you asking यार? Fast and the Furious, तुम racers के go to you know any F1 racer and ask him, yeah, have you seen Fast and the Furious? And you're like, he'll be like, no, dude, it's bullshit.
It's like asking Lewis Hamilton, what do you think about Fast 10, right?
Vin Diesel सही चलाता है.
So stupid. हाँ, Vin Diesel सही गाड़ी चला रहा है. मजा आया तेरे को देख के. ये क्या बातें हैं यार? Selectivism. And these guys, one of a few reviewers also started fighting with each other. अभी एक दूसरे को call out कर रहे थे for some reason. पता नहीं क्या हुआ था. One was the same religious guy and one was the other guy. And they were like कि उसने उसको बोला, call out किया कि तूने पेड रिव्यू दिया, फिर उसने बोला तुम तो हर चीज को हिंदुत्व में मिला देते हो.
पढ़ो ही नहीं यार.
भाई जितना दूर रहो ना इन चीजों से उतना बेटर है. उतना बेटर है.
Shan, people look forward to your organic process of what the next video is going to be. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The moment you get into the name calling and all of that, then it takes away from what that subscriber base has developed to become, which is love for cinema, which is your point of view of it.
Yeah.
And I remember when that whole foreign reaction stuff happened, I got a ton of hate from our desis only. Okay, you jealous guy, you India में बैठा हुआ है, he's making a name for himself, he interviews celebrities, you're just jealous, all of that. मैंने कहा भाई तुमने वीडियो देखा है, कंटेंट का तुम्हें नहीं करना, तुम्हें ये करना है कि तू जेलस है. हाँ. और suddenly all of those comments went away, and then the subscriber base came and said, Jami, do anything but don't delete this video, because you've called out exactly what's happened, but let's stop it here. Let's not create a back and forth and फिर भाई हो गया काम. कोई जरूरत नहीं पड़ती यार.
The same thing I did with Adipurush also. Two of my videos did millions in 2 days flat.
Yeah.
One was the review and the other one was calling out Manoj Muntashir's dumbass lies. Third video I was planning, but I thought कि यार वो ना ज़्यादा pushing the boundary हो जाएगा. Now it's like I have done enough. I have taken a stand right from the point when the teaser came out up till the release, and now the post what do you call these? Now the post release promotions and stuff like that, right? तो उसके बाद ना एक boundary आ जाती है pushing की. But there are certain creators who would push out 12 videos, 13 videos on the same damn thing, bro. And
this cycle, Shan, boycott Bollywood पे कितने वीडियोस उखाड़ लोगे तुम?
Oh my
कितने?
God.
3 महीने तक वही चला रहे थे तुम यार.
करियर बना लिए भाई लोगों ने अपने. करियर में बोलता रहा हूँ तेरे को. अभी भी आदिपुरुष बॉक्स ऑफिस कलेक्शन रिलीज टाइम, ठीक है, ये रिलीज टाइम वाली वीडियोस क्या?
I don't get it. How, pre-release. प्री पोस्टर. like what are you और वो है 2.5 मिनट की वीडियो, 3 मिनट की वीडियो, और कुछ नहीं है, अनाप शनाप रेटरिक है. और मैं कहा भाई इस पे वीडियो कैसे बना दी यार तुमने? एक बार तो टीजर आया भी नहीं था और प्री टीजर रिव्यू. अबे बात क्या कर रहे हो
भाई? रिलीज टाइम की वीडियो, ठीक है, 10 डे वो भाई बाथरूम से वीडियो बना देते हैं. बाथरूम से वीडियो, कोई बड़ी पिक्चर होगी ना, इंटरवल में बाथरूम में जाएंगे, वहां से बना देते हैं वीडियो भाई. क्विक रिव्यू थंबनेल नहीं लगाता. Quick review, 2 minute review of a 3-hour film that I haven't watched even half the way, but I'll give you a 2 minute review. भाई के मतलब.
But I'll tell you, Shan, I थोड़ा सा empathize with that. इस विंडो पे ही रिलीज करनी पड़ेगी वीडियो, हाँ, कि एंगेजमेंट सबसे हाई होगा, एंड स्पेशली व्हेन यू आर ट्राइंग टू ग्रो एन ऑडियंस, थोड़ा डेस्परेशन होता है. आई डू गेट इट, बट आई डोंट गेट इट विद established guys who are making 3-minute videos of nothingness. And you see those, you're talking about the chapri comments now. The comments are, I don't know, they're just random words. It's not even an opinion. It's, this guy is king. This guy forever. Jai Hind. And you're like, what?
Jai Hind. 1,000 crore loading की spelling LODING.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and that is my pet peeve, Doshan. Now suddenly, I had fallen in love with the review space and a few personalities. There are these 2 guys. I always bring them up in interviews as my influences. एक Jeremy Jahns है और एक Chris Tuckman है. हाँ, ये हॉलीवुड के रिव्यूज करते हैं. हाँ,
right. I know. I've seen.
आज तक उन्होंने बॉक्स ऑफिस के बारे में बात नहीं की. हाँ,
exactly.
और ये 2012 से बात कर रहे हैं, हाँ, मूवीज के बारे में. पर हमारा ना इट्स ऐसा सिस्टम बन गया है, सो ऑब्सेस्ड विद बॉक्स ऑफिस ना. कभी आई फील सो कंपेल्ड कि शिट, मुझे बात ही करनी पड़ेगी यार. चलो, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द बिगेस्ट डिजास्टर्स ऑफ दिस ईयर, बट इट्स नॉट अबाउट द आर्ट फॉर्म. आई डोंट नो व्हाट्स हैपेंड.
यार, it's that's what I'm saying, no, कि you, I and a couple more reviewers are the only few ones who are not obsessed with either the box office numbers or the hate or the positivity or the political agenda surrounding the films. That's why I'm telling you, 95% of the reviewers are still doing this thing. They would wait and watch कि किस तरफ को जा रहा है थाली में बैंगन, हम भी उस तरफ हो जाते हैं. Right?
You know what's crazy, Shan, is Twitter now, when emotions are the highest are जब ट्रेलर ड्रॉप होता है. हाँ, जब ट्रेलर ड्रॉप होता है तो फिर जो बंदा बोलेगा ना, जो इमीडिएटली बोलेगा, and if it's against the grain, he will get the maximum amount of hate. Huh? So all of these samosas on Twitter have started this new trend of taking a screenshot from the trailer or teaser. How was the teaser? Huh? They'll create a full percentage of भाई इतना है मूड, चलो ये अपना ओपिनियन है अब. तो अपना मतलब अनफिल्टर्ड ओपिनियन तुमने दिया ही नहीं, तुम इतने बड़े शीप हो कि तुमने वेट किया क्या है मेजॉरिटी ओपिनियन, अब बोलते हैं.
और वही बोलेंगे वो जो उनको लग रहा है भाई ये बिल्कुल सही हो सकता है. ऐसा आदिपुरुष में मैंने देखिए ऐसे लौंडों की, इन्होंने डाल दी, इन्होंने वीडियो डाल दी और फिर आया इनको बैकलैश और फिर इन्होंने वापस हटा ली वीडियो वहां से फिर उन्होंने वीडियो हटा ली भाई वहां से। यार अगर तुम एक दिन में 3-3 4-4 5-5 वीडियोस बना रहे हो, हाउ डू यू इवन हैव द मेंटल बैंडविड्थ टू एनालाइज व्हाट वाज रॉन्ग इन द फिल्म एंड व्हाट्स एक्चुअली व्हाट आर द पॉइंट दैट यू शुड बी टॉकिंग अबाउट। अगर तू रिलीज टाइम की वीडियो बना रहा, हु गिव्स अ फक अबाउट द रिलीज टाइम मैन।
Dude, and it has 500,000 views, but what's the content? It's nothing. It's
Nothing.
like, yeah, go. And you're
Huh.
like, that's why I love, whenever I've come to your channel and gone through your comment section, it's genuine thoughts on the story, on the performance, on what your take was, agreeing or disagreeing with you. And that's, I think, such a rarity and a gem to cherish. That's why I feel like, you should carry on steering towards that direction more than these. This is just noise, yaar. All of this just becomes noise.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. And it's like they have become so much in number. Like these reviews, these kind of reviews that have no, जिसका सर नहीं है, पैर नहीं है, अगाड़ा पिछाड़ा कुछ नहीं है, बस वो डालनी है वीडियो और हमने उठा के डाल दी. So they have become so much in number कि अब वो मुझे nuisance लगने लग गया यार. क्योंकि a lot of and these guys are the people who would put out the video. पिक्चर आई है, 1 घंटे में वीडियो आ गई तुम्हारे रिव्यू की, 1 घंटे में. प्रोडक्शन वैल्यू तो चल तू भूल जा. आई हैव टू लाइक डू अ प्रोडक्शन वैल्यू तो हम बात ही नहीं करते, वहां तक तो पहुंचने वाली बात ही नहीं है. 1 घंटे में तूने रियलाइज कर लिया तूने क्या देखा पिक्चर में. अगर तू 3 घंटे की पिक्चर देख के आगे ऐसे बैठेगा ना, क्या बोलूं यार मैं, तो भी तेरे को 45-50 मिनट तो लग जाएंगे सोचने में कि यार मुझे बोलना क्या है, व्हाट डू आई हैव टू से. आते ही ओ भाई 2-4 वर्ड है, गूज बम्स आ गए. हर बात पे गूज बम्प आ जाते हैं. ठीक है, कोई आ गया, हीरो आ गया, गूज बम्प आ गया.
मिडनाइट को सीरीज ड्रॉप हुई है, 10 एपिसोड की सीरीज, 9 बजे रिव्यू आ गया. मैंने कहा भाई ये तो दिस इज विदाउट स्क्रीनर्स बाय द वे.
हाँ, दिस इज विदाउट स्क्रीन. एग्जैक्टली दैट्स व्हाट आई वाज टेलिंग यू. मैं हमेशा ना, जैसे एम्बार्गो हटता है, रिलीज माय वेब सीरीज, क्योंकि मेरे पास 2 या 3 दिन पहले आ जाता है. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जांपल अभी वीरप्पन देख रहा हूं मैं, वीरप्पन नेटफ्लिक्स पे कल आ रहा है, राइट. प्रोबेबली आई विल रिलीज अ रिव्यू फॉर दैट. But I have already watched it. It's been like 2 days I've watched it. I've thought about it. The same I did with Kohra as well. Fantastic series. तूने देखी?
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's a fantastic show and I reviewed it, right? मैंने उसको डाला. लोग कमेंट आते हैं, अरे तूने तो पहले कैसे देख लिया, अभी तो फिल्म आई है. मैं हर बार मेंशन करता हूँ वीडियो के एंड में, हर बार, कि भाई मेरे को स्क्रीनर मिलते हैं, मैं स्क्रीनर देख के इसलिए पहले आ जाती है. बट वो सिलेक्टिव हियरिंग है ना, कि सिलेक्टिव हियरिंग है कि पहले 3 मिनट की, 4 मिनट की, 5 मिनट की वीडियो देखनी है, पूरी वीडियो देखनी नहीं है. एंड दिस इज द रीजन फॉर द हेट दैट वी गॉट ऑन पठान ऑल्सो, कि भाई तुमने पठान को कैसे कर दिया, प्रेज कर दिया. उर्दू वुड है, उर्दू वुड एक नया चीज आया, उर्दू वुड हो गया. देयर आर सर्टेन थिंग्स दैट आर वेरी हार्ड फॉर मी टू कॉम्प्रिहेंड दैट हो क्या रहा है, इवन इफ यू ट्राई टू पुट अक्रॉस अ सेम पॉइंट.
See, I love to engage in the comment section on YouTube because there are still filters of people wanting to create a point and then you countering them. Twitter to chodo. Twitter, there is no point having any nuance or argument with anyone.
Yeah.
But
Twitter is a Salman Khan film, man.
fully. So, and I learnt this especially when, movie by movie, Akshay Kumar's movies weren't doing well, okay? And they weren't good, yaar. So I was calling them out, and Twitter has the most fan pages. So they were coming after my life, and I realized that some battles, you let them win. I never block anyone. I never delete comments. I don't do anything, okay? जो गालियाँ देनी है दो, morph करनी है पिक्चर, किसी चीज़ पे डालनी है डालो. So that's your prerogative. But the moment you start replying to them and using their own tactics, then I feel like a lot of people will be like, dude, why are you mimicking the things that you hate only? You know?
Yeah.
So
गदर वाले उस पे आया था ना, तेरी जली ना हा इमोजी, और बर्नॉल ले लो. किस लिए ले लो बर्नॉल? बेइज्जती करा दिया वो पिक्चर हमारी पाकिस्तान के सामने यार. What are you trying to celebrate?
And you acknowledge that Pakistan's a failing state. It's in turmoil.
Yeah.
Why give them so much attention?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. You're right
being
on.
so
right
consumed, being so consumed by their existence when they're a failing state. You should be thinking about the states. You should be thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah. It's like in comedy you do not punch down but you punch up. तू उसका मजाक नहीं उड़ाता जो तेरे नीचे है, तू उसका मजाक उड़ाता जो तुम्हारे ऊपर है। मैंने यही क्लियरली बोला है यार, देख मैं लेमैन लैंग्वेज में जितना ब्रेक डाउन कर सकता हूँ ना, मैं उतना ब्रेक डाउन करता हूँ चीजों को, बट देयर आर स्टिल अ सर्टेन नंबर ऑफ पीपल, अ सर्टेन सेक्ट ऑफ पीपल हु वुड कम आफ्टर मी फॉर नो रीजन एट ऑल, लाइक दे वुड गो आफ्टर एवरीबॉडी। लाइक गदर को मेरे को नहीं लगता किसी ने भी बहुत प्रेज किया होगा, किसी भी रिव्यूअर ने, एंड ओवरऑल मुझे लगता है सबको ही हेट आई है। तेरे कमेंट सेक्शन में भी हेट थी, मेरे को भी हेट आई थी, एंड और यही लोग हैं जो वही आदि पुरुष को पहले प्रेज कर रहे थे। See, that's the whole point. That I don't understand. And this, अच्छा ये वाला एक यहाँ पे एक OTT पे completely opposite है। जैसे यहाँ पे छपरी है, OTT पे woke छपरी है। There are woke छपरीज who जो प्रेज करते हैं 4 more shots जैसे shows को, right?
Oh God.
Oh my God, that show has gone down to that show मेरे existence ना channel की synonymous बन गई है 4 more shots के साथ।
I think that's when I first saw your channel when you had reviewed it. Yeah. Because it was trash, bro. Even like some of my woke friends consider it to be trash. So I don't know how somebody saw a silver lining and how it got nominated for an Emmy. I was like, eh?
Oh my God. Oh my God. भाई इतना बर्बाद जो है ना वो, I mean, your education is बेकार. Just put your education in dustbin if you like that show, because there's no भाई हम कोई moral policing नहीं कर रहे हैं किसी की वहाँ पे। तूने लेटेस्ट सीजन देखा उसका?
It's the worst of the lot,
It's
I
the
believe.
worst. That woman, after cheating again and again on the same guy, comes and tells the guy, "तू मेरे को judge करता because I slept with somebody else." What the
Dude, that scene blew me away. She cheated and
Yeah.
and he reacts and she's like, "This is your problem." Like, gaslighting 101, हाँ? कि मैंने गलती की पर तू प्रॉब्लम है. Right. I was like, क्या औकात, dude. You know, if you see this show, have you seen Jile Zara?
हाँ.
Huh? Okay, so this Tamanna show with a bunch of
Oh,
friends.
जी करदा.
Sorry, Ji Karda. Yes.
I've seen
You
a
saw
couple of
it?
episodes. हाँ, 1-2 episode देखे मैंने.
Can I spoil it for you?
अरे हाँ, spoil यार. I was trying to roast it anyway.
So she feels this sense of कि यार I don't really love the guy, वो मेरा दोस्त टाइप ही है पर मैं इसके साथ शादी कर लेती हूँ क्योंकि ये सिक्योर सा आदमी है, मतलब कि अच्छा काम करता है, स्टैंडर्ड है, लाइफ ठीक रहेगी. But she doesn't have those, you know, feelings, that sexual feelings for him. So on the day of the shadi, she sleeps with her best friend, comes back to the mandap, hugs the dulha, ye wo, shadi wadi ho gayi, honeymoon gaye, she's not putting out, she's not having sex with him. हाँ, तो मैंने कहा अच्छा तो probably ये मतलब divorce होगा या कुछ होगा. तो वो एक ना क्लब में घूम रहे होते हैं सारे दोस्त. वो बेस्ट फ्रेंड ने इसको had sex with her बट कोई बोल नहीं रहा. एक बंदे ने बोल दिया, अरे तू क्या है, तेरी बीवी ने तो शादी के दिन तेरी बेस्ट फ्रेंड के साथ सेक्स किया. He's like, oh shit and then suddenly bomb blast हो जाता है, हाँ, किसी बार के कोने में. और फिर पुलिस आती है, सबको बोलती है जाओ और पता चलता है रिलेशनशिप, हाँ, मतलब तो एक्सपोज हो गई. और फिर एंड में बोलती है, you know what's funny? I didn't regret a single second. And I was like, huh? इसका point क्या था? You cheat on a guy who was good to you throughout. You keep that secret. The lie gets exposed and you're like, yeah. मुझे तो मजा आया.
Yeah.
Huh?
they're trying to put this point forward as the sexual liberation of Indian women, and it's not. Try to talk to sane women who are equal. I was raised by women all around me, right? My mother had the biggest role in my life. I have sisters, right? I have friends who have daughters. मेरी पूरी family में लड़कियां ज़्यादा हैं. So my nani was a single mother as well in a point of time. तो मेरे को पता है कि यार actual feminist में ना you can look at a woman and see कि तू किस feminist है और वो कितना feminist बनना चाह रही है, right? An actual feminist would never be gloaty about the fact that she has done almost everything on her own accord, right? She has gone out, stood out from the crowd and done everything. With these shows, what they tried to do was, पहला season probably watchable होगा. I started watching 4 more shots, second season onward. जब मैंने channel शुरू किया था, my wife was watching it and she was like, you should check out this bullshit. And then I put out that review that went viral. The first video, the probably तूने जब channel देखा होगा.
Yeah.
So the whole thought process around this thing is so woke and so, I mean,
Pretentious.
It's pretentious. It's woke and it's pretentious. Does not bring forward any feminist empathy at all. If anyone, if a woman is actually feminist, she would not be in line with the show anyway. कि भैया ये
For
क्या
sure,
हो
yeah,
रहा है?
your sexual liberation at the cost of people. So
Yeah.
you're looking at a person who did not wrong you in any way, and
Yeah.
I feel like this liberation at the cost of people's happiness and lives. I felt like it's just on faulty ground, yaar. It's
Yeah,
too,
it's what are you trying to justify here? You're trying to justify. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि संस्कार ये वो संस्कार. There's a certain संस्कार in everybody, right? वेस्ट में भी ऐसा कल्चर नहीं है इतना खराब. A lot of people think ये वेस्ट का कल्चर है. भैया मेरे को 5 साल हो गए वेस्ट में रहते हुए. यहाँ पे भी ऐसी फैमिलीज हैं जो वाइट हैं and they do not acknowledge all of this misdemeanor in relationships. They are also loyal. They've been with their partners for 20 years plus. They have family reunions and everything like that. Third season में 4 more shots के बानी जे जाती है and she kisses her भाभी. You remember that show जो ऊपर जाके kiss कर रही है? तेरा भाई है. You have a nephew now. Right? Even if जो था past में था ना तुम्हारे, अब वो हो गया ना खत्म. Why are you coming in their lives now, which is particularly settled, and you're trying to kiss your भाभी, right? Trying to get sexual, और तेरी माँ ने बाहर से उसको देख लिया. So तेरा भाई तो बर्बाद हो जाता ना अगर वो उसको देख लेता. तो I don't understand this.
you know, there are, and you know, I'm saying these two shows specifically because there are great feminist movies, you know, and when you look at a movie like Queen, which presented a woman being in a toxic relationship, understanding she's better than that, and saying that, dude, I've had enough of you, there is liberation in that also, rather than, you know, having a solid partner and then cheating on him and then being like, I'm all about me. I feel like that sets a bad precedent. Yeah.
And पता है गहराइयाँ differed here exactly where 4 more shots went the wrong way. गहराइयाँ took the right turn. At the end of गहराइयाँ, if you remember, वो दिखाता है कि consequences कितने खराब हैं इसके.
Yeah, that movie, you know, again, got embroiled in people reducing a film's plot to sex.
To sex.
The sex is literally the last point of this entire thing. And people don't want to discuss that. And sadly, you know, the most popular reviewers fucking post that thumbnail of 5,000 sex scene, 2,000 ye. Yeah, and you've reduced the entire nuance of that thing. Even though I did not enjoy probably the Abbas Mastanish thriller aspect of it, wo jo end mein ho jata hai.
True.
But dude, it's about people. It's about guys, and they get those consequences. That's why it hit so hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
ये exactly वो जो 500 सेक्स सीन भारत की संस्कृति खराब कर दी ये है वो है. They completely forget that in our संस्कृति there is a god of sex, Kamdev. We have Kama Sutra, the probably most detailed book on sex ever written in the history of humanity. We have it in our culture as well. Right? Or Gehraiyaan was a very fine film. The acting performances were very fine. Deepika was fabulous in her acting. Right? But
And sometimes I feel what is this forced need, almost like this thing of wanting to see everything with your parents.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
As if like ये parents के साथ देख सकते हैं क्या लोग सोचेंगे अरे are you watching everything with your parents? Are you
That's
watching
so
Game
true.
of Thrones with your parents?
Yeah.
Where people are brothers and sisters over there. I was so blown away by this reduced concept of अरे parents के साथ नहीं देख सकते, as if you're not constantly on your phone watching something else.
Yeah, absolutely. You are 24/7 at least. यार तू मुट्ठी मार रहा है दिन में 4 बार 24 घंटे बैठ के.
Reels, Shan, Reels. Reels is literally softcore porn with
Absolutely, man.
people
Absolutely.
with, you know, it's crazy on how desensitized people are getting on viewership
Yeah.
by seeing minors. Shan, minors in crop tops and shorts are dancing.
Absolutely, man.
And I'm blown away with censorship by OTT. ये सब करते रहते हैं. Bro, Instagram is like the worst of the lot.
Worst of all. The latest trend is get ready with me wala. And
Oh my God.
Nobody's getting ready with you. Why? And they know it. The women doing this, they know it that nobody's interested in getting ready with them. Everybody's interested in watching your side that you're trying to show there, man. It's as simple as that. उस comment section में सारे मुट्ठल हैं. उसमें कोई आके तेरे को ये नहीं बोल रहा, oh my God, you've put together such a fine outfit. I would try this out on my first date. Nobody's fucking saying that. Everybody is like थोड़ा घूम के तो दिखाओ, and check out the comments and know who they are catering to, and they very well know it. That's the whole point, no? कि internet इतना easily available हो गया है हर किसी को that everybody wants to be a content creator now.
But it's two ways of what's hilarious to me is say the girl identifying that you know how you get viewership. Okay, the guys complaining about the video but constantly watching similar videos and commenting on them.
Absolutely.
So it's both ways with this, but I feel like
this is
tell me,
a very
Shan,
valid point.
have you explored what is your experience with shorts, YouTube shorts?
I have bro. मेरे initially जो shorts थे, shorts channel पे जो podcast वाले channel पे initially जो मैंने डाले, तो all of them hit 1 million views. The first 4 or 5 ज़्यादा shorts नहीं डालता हूँ मैं. I'm still trying to go heavy on shorts, but I'm so inclined towards making long form content that short form content takes a backseat with me. Like मैं Instagram पे भी कुछ नहीं डालता हूँ. Mostly कभी कभार डाल दिया, कभी कभार नहीं डाला. Outtakes, reels from the podcast. That's what we are pushing right there right now. But you're answering your question कि मेरे को ये लगता है कि shorts is good enough. But you would never know what blows up. It's as simple as that. You just have to put some of your shorts would do 1 million views, some which are better than what the content is in that 1 million view video is better than in a 500 views or 2,000, 20,000, 50,000 views. So shorts is like fine, fair enough, but it's actually also encouraging at the same time half-assed content consumption. Content creation to hey, half-assed content creation to hey. What you can put through in a 10-minute video, you of course you cannot put through in a 1-minute video.
Yeah.
But जो उस 1 minute को video को देख रहा है ना, वो भी अब prime हो चुका है 1 minute information लेने के लिए ही. He would watch that and he would move on and he would talk to 10 other people. Oh, इसमें ये था. But उसको ये नहीं पता कि इस 1 minute की video के पीछे एक 10 minute की video भी है जो long form है. Even if you tell them, if you want to watch the full take on this thing, watch this video, they would not go. Most of the people would not go there unless कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा triggering है. Then they would
I feel like if your core is long form and this anyway is the major chunk of the revenue, shorts barely makes any revenue with
nothing.
Even crazy viewership.
Yeah.
If you make this your core and probably just for growth 2 shorts, that would be like ideal, right?
Yeah, I think
because I think
Instagram
subscribers increase or something. Oh,
yeah,
Instagram. Yes,
Instagram Reels. So I usually what I do is if we make a short or reel, we repurpose it. We put it as a short, we put it as we double it up as a reel and put it up on Instagram as well. तो हम ये करते हैं वहाँ पे. हाँ, that makes sense. और Instagram पे वो चीज़ blow up कर जाती है. It's short form content. I think YouTube long form content is always here to stay. Short form is like a phase right now. It started cropping up in 2018, late 2018, blew up in 2020, and then a lot. See, a lot of creators, like probably I would say 55 to 60% of the creators right now on Instagram and YouTube, they build their careers from short form content. And they would start losing their relevance in about 2 or 3 years. Because there's no crux, there's no foundational element to that short form content. You get the point? कि लोग तेरे से अटैच क्यों कर रहे हैं? लोग जैमी से अटैच इसलिए करते हैं क्योंकि they relate to Jamie because Jamie puts himself up to that wavelength and talks in the same manner that other people actually can relate with. So they know Jamie as a personality, not Jamie only as a content creator, but Jamie as a person. Comes through a 10-minute video that he comes up with 3 times a week or twice a week. With a 1-minute video, you are coming out twice in a day sometimes, or thrice in a day, or let's say 15, 16, 20 reels in a week. Nobody is there nobody has the time. Nobody loves spammers anyway. So that's spamming, I guess.
What's crazy is that I've seen a lot of these short form content creators try to do long form content and terribly fail because they haven't got the bandwidth of keeping that longevity, keeping that viewership for a longer time. It's an interesting space, yeah.
तूने अभी तक डाले
But podcasts are here to stay. Podcasts are here to stay.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Yeah.
I hope so. I always wanted to start a podcast, but I was very certain in my head once I near about 250,000 subscribers, which I am now, then only I would start the podcast. ठीक है, उससे पहले आजकल podcast का भी वही वाला हाल हो गया reels जैसा. Everybody has a podcast.
Oh, dude, that's another reels. Everyone has a podcast, and they're talking about which is your Lay's favorite flavor, and I'm just like, what? Yeah. How does this have 8 million views?
Oh, absolutely. Are you doing YouTube Shorts?
No, I'm just doing reels, yaar. I think.
तेरी मैंने Instagram वाली reels देखी हैं. They do really good numbers. Why don't you repurpose them and put it on YouTube?
That's what I'm saying. Some issues are happening with copyright stuff in YouTube, so I'll just see how I can repurpose it. But
yeah, the music that you might just use, the footage that you might just use, sometimes get into the thick of it. Footage का I can give you a small, तेरे को पता ही होगा ये होता है. There's a loop that you can actually use is कि कोई भी जब तू footage use करता है ना उसके ऊपर कोई glitch डाल दे. Because the copyright is not given by an individual sitting on the other end from the production house. It's usually recognized by a bot, which they have set up कि अगर same to same footage साथ में चल रही है तो copyright तेरे को आ जाएगा, claim आ जाएगा वहाँ से. So if you mangle the footage a little, make it understandable, but put a kind of filter, put something, put black and white on it. यार हमारे को क्या है, हमारे को बस एक पॉइंट कन्वे करना है. People would have already seen that shot or already seen that shot that we are trying to put out in the reel, right? So it just only makes sense कि ऐसे कर
No, I do exactly what you've said because I've had my fair share of arguments with guys with copyright strikes and stuff, and dealt with the most boomer guys who have no idea what's going on. I wonder, sometimes have you dealt with guys with striking and like them not understanding your point of transformative content?
Oh, bhai, MTV took down 3 of my roasts on Splitsvilla and Roadies, amounting over 2.5 million views or something. और सीधा धमकी आती है वहाँ से. हमने कहा कि हम हटा देते हैं, प्राइवेट कर देते हैं. कहते हैं कि नहीं, हमारे पास लिंक है, वी कैन स्टिल सी इट. इफ यू डू नॉट टेक इट डाउन, विल गिव यू अ स्ट्राइक एंड विल गिव यू अ लीगल नोटिस टू इट एज वेल. ये भी होने लगा था बीच में. देयर हैज बीन इंस्टेंसेस वेयर पीपल हैव कम आफ्टर मी. मैंने उस पर भी किया था अभी. करण कुंद्रा's fan army came after me. वो कौन सा सीरियल है, वैम्पायर डायरीज. सो दे वर थ्रेटनिंग, they were threatening with legal things कि तुमने मैंने करण कुंद्रा को करण लुंडरा बोल दिया था उसमें. So everybody got flabbergasted. Oh my god, कैसे बोल दिया. ये वही लोग हैं जो हर दिन में 50 बार मार बहन बोलते हैं and stuff like that. These are the same people who are like
do an episode on that.
Oh भाई, वो तो you reviewed Anupama too, no?
Yeah, I had done Anupama. So I had हाँ dude, but it's reached 1,000 episodes. Can you imagine? But you know what's crazy is that there is unanimous viewership for that show, and every day on Twitter people are complaining about it, but they're tuning in the next day also. So you're like, you're the reason why it's carrying on for so long.
Yeah man, absolutely. और मेरे को लोग बोलते हैं रोस्ट करो अनुपमा को, and I was like, मैं कितना देखूंगा इसको, 1000 एपिसोड थोड़ी देखूंगा. कितना देख सकते हो तुम इस स्क्रीन?
How they pump out the episodes, it's insane. It's a सरकारी नौकरी, dude.
Oh bro, absolutely. दिहाड़ी पे तो वैसे ही काम करते हैं, डेली वेजेस पे काम करते हैं टीवी सीरियल वाले. और जब तक उनको मिल रहा है, जब तक चल रहा है, टीआरपी से पैसा आ रहा है, तो वो करते जा रहे हैं and stuff like that. And
she's the highest paid actor now, yeah.
Really?
Rupali Ganguly on TV, Indian TV, highest paid actor.
Fuck man. But I mean, it's not surprising when your show is running into 1,000. It's thousands episode. Right? Netflix पे भी देख लेना यार, content कितना खराब होता जा रहा है. Right? There were times when we used to watch Sacred Games. मतलब majority of the shows coming out on Netflix during a time 16 to 20 were like good shows. And whenever you used to watch them, you were like कि हाँ यार, एक नया dawn of cinema, नया dawn of understanding good OTT content is coming through. But then 2020 hits and masala films take over, and everything that OTT has done, all these underrated actors have done collectively to improve the existing content culture ecosystem, वो बिल्कुल wipe off हो जाता है.
You know, now what I've learned from interacting with some of the actors who are doing digital content is, sadly, they are mimicking the same things now as normal produced films that go into theaters. So now they've realized that, oh shit, the movie OTT market's already saturated. Films have coming back to theaters. People are going back to theaters. Now the only way we can redirect traffic to us is if we get stars. So get Shahid for Farzi, get Varun for Citadel. So now the underrated guys are out of the picture. You get the stars in, and it's the same star-led model even there now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ruined, man. It was there to stay for like 2-3 years, just like I said, 16 to 20. उसके बाद जैसे तूने बोला, exactly वही हो रहा है. And Kohra was a cut above the rest when it came to this thing.
It was so good.
Right? Like,
no, you
Surinder Vicky is one of the best actors I've seen recently.
Dude, he is so good. And you know, he was great in Cat also.
Oh, absolutely. अरे उसकी पिक्चर है, किसी ने देखी नहीं है नेटफ्लिक्स पे, तूने भी नहीं देखी होगी, मील का पत्थर.
हाँ वही देखी, माइलस्टोन ना.
हाँ, माइलस्टोन, मील का पत्थर. वो इट्स अ फैंटास्टिक फिल्म. A lot of people, उन्हें नहीं समझ आएगी वो पिक्चर. बहुत सारे लोगों को, उनको लग रहा है कोई डॉक्यूमेंट्री है, बट इट्स अ लाइफ ऑफ अ ट्रकर. और कितने अच्छी तरह से उसको दिखाया गया है. सुविंदर विकी प्लेज अ ट्रकर सो गुड. पंजाबी रोल सुविंदर विकी डज वेरी नाइसली. दैट्स द होल थिंग. और अभी बात होने लगी है कैट में, उड़ता पंजाब में भी ही प्लेड पुलिस ऑफिसर, आई गेस. He was in Udta Punjab? He was in Udta Punjab.
I'm forgetting Diljit's senior you're talking about, na?
हाँ, मेरे ख्याल he was the same guy. I think that he was the one, and he plays the same roles, although the roles are Punjab police se related, right? Or someone Punjabi, but he does absolute brilliant justice to them.
You know what was the biggest fraud situation was for me when the slate of Geo Cinema titles came out. Okay,
right.
और कह रहे थे भाई this is going to be insane. They're going to revolutionize everything. They have marketed their shows so badly. पता भी नहीं चलेगा अभी कि रिलीज हो गई क्या हो गया. एक सोनम कपूर की पिक्चर आई थी ब्लाइंड. हाँ, मैंने रिव्यू किया, फिर बोले हैं ये कौन सी पिक्चर है ब्लाइंड. कोई भी पिक्चर अब डाल रहे हैं. कालकूट, हाँ, ये जो अभी आए
विजय वर्मा वाला. आई थिंक इट्स अ गुड शो. मैंने 2 एपिसोड देखे उसके. इट्स अ गुड शो बट जीरो मार्केटिंग मैन. उन्होंने फिश मार्केट बना दिया है जियो सिनेमा को. हर दिन लाओ, बनाओ, डालो.
एंड सी व्हाट डिड दे मार्केट द मोस्ट? ब्लडी डैडी. शाहिद कपूर, ये देखो.
बस दैट्स अबाउट इट. एंड आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड मैन, ये क्या मेंटालिटी होती जा रही है कि भाई अब स्टारलेट चीजें ही बनानी है. और एंड डू यू थिंक दैट वी विल गेट इनटू दिस इज द टाइम ऑफ मसाला फिल्म्स एंड इट विल पीक आउट or it'll die down?
I think it will definitely peak. I think by 2025 it'll almost get exhausting because I think the closer or the curtain call is supposed to be Pathaan versus Tiger. उसके बाद ना थक जाएंगे लोग. And I feel like another phase. See, poor Ayushmann, who was at the peak before the pandemic, is still trying to figure out कि भाई मैं करूँ क्या लोगों को interest करने के लिए. And I saw that Dream Girl 2 trailer and I was like, it's fun, ठीक है, but is anyone going to be interested?
Yes.
So I started to think कि probably this is the phase where everything SRK will click, and then probably this will also, you know, as everything like becomes exhausting at one point of time. You saw from the 2010 to the 2015 period when say Shah Rukh was doing Chennai Express and The Lot, and Salman was just doing remakes, and Hrithik was doing Agnipath, and so that was probably that phase. Then the Rajkumar and Ayushmans came and really hit it out of the park, but no one's interested in. But you know, Shan, I feel like no one knows anything is the right term, because if Zara Hatke Zara Bachke, Satya Prem Ki Katha, all of these movies can do moderate to great business, then I feel like people are still sort of interested in understanding different stories beyond the star-led action film. Because वो star-led action film में वो आपके पास आदित्य रॉय कपूर वाली पिक्चर भी है जिसमें वो ओम, हाँ, वो भी है. वो टाइगर की भी एक बागी 4 आएगी, वो भी आएगी, तो उसका भी रेंज मिलेगा, स्पेक्ट्रम.
अरे वो फ्यूचर में टाइम ट्रैवल फिल्म बना रहा है ना, गणपत, डिस्टोपियन फिल्म.
Oh yeah.
Bro, it is going to be so bad. I'm telling you, it's going to be so bad. And what do you think about Vidyut Jamwal? मैं personally तेरे को अपना opinion बताता हूँ उसके लिए. I don't think the man can act. I think he's a fantastic martial artist. He could do acting, but I don't think so that he's been able to polish himself as an actor. That's what I think. What about you?
Okay. So I really like him as the physical specimen that he is, and you know, and what he can do on screen. I don't think he is I don't think he has range. Okay. He can play what Keanu Reeves excels at, which is monosyllabic dialogues, and I'm gonna fuck shit up. He's ideal for that, and I think a notch above Tiger Shroff. But what I do think is slightly underrated is that he can play a good villain sometimes. So if you see him in Force against John, he does have sparks where he can really give something. I saw Khuda Hafiz 2 also, where I thought that as a person with vengeance ना, बहुत मोटा मोटा इमोशन चाहिए होता है. हाँ, तो वो जो कियानो सोचो जॉन विक में कर लेगा, या फिर आप वो साउथ कोरियन फिल्म ओल्ड बॉय जैसे ले लो, वो जो मोटा मोटा पागलपन का है ना सिचुएशन, वो कर लेगा. बट एक्टिंग रेंज वैसे आई डोंट थिंक ही रियली possesses that. And sadly what's happened is he can easily collaborate with other production companies as a character actor, as a guy who can contribute to elevating the film, but he also has a thing कि मैं अपना Hermit Kingdom बनाऊंगा और मैं leading star हूँगा. Now that has deterred him from collaborating with better production companies and projects because he wants to be the star, produce it himself, star in it as the lead. And I think that becomes an issue for a lot of actors. Now Kangana is also going through the same issue. She wants to star in it, produce in it, write in it.
Right.
She wants to do everything.
She wants to do
And
everything.
you know, you can't really keep that ship afloat for very long unless you are George Lucas or someone who is so visionary, you know.
But
बहुत tough
I
है
still, the same thing, exactly what you said is ki, like, I don't think so Vidyut Jamwal can fill up theatres. He cannot.
Yeah, sadly,
Yeah.
sadly, he,
Sadly,
you
he
know,
cannot.
all his star-led films do not open massively, and you know, social media is not a great indicator of anyone's fan
absolutely,
following.
absolutely. It's not.
On the ground, सब खुश हो जाता है.
हाँ अच्छा आज तक अगर तू किसी से विद्युत जामवाल के बारे में पूछेगा ना तो वो यही बोलेगा वो कमांडो वाला ही हैज डन अ टन ऑफ अदर फिल्म्स बट वो कमांडो वाला और वो भी कमांडो 1 क्योंकि कमांडो 1 जिस टाइम आई थी उस टाइम विद्युत जैसी फिटनेस किसी के पास नहीं थी इवन अगर थी भी दे वर नॉट पुटिंग इट आउट विद द बॉडी लैंग्वेज दैट ही ब्रॉट आउट ही डिड हिज स्टंट्स ही वाज वर्किंग आउट जैसे तूने कहा इज अ फिजिकल स्पेसिमेन मैन फकिंग फैंटास्टिक गाय राइट लुक्स रियली ब्रिलियंट राइट बट आई डोंट थिंक सो मेरे को अभी भी ये लगता है टू बी अ स्टार आई मीन even in Hollywood, if you look at things, the top-notch stars, the reigning stars are Tom Cruise. Once that guy was the most handsome guy alive on the planet. ठीक है, George Clooney, most handsome guy. Leonardo, one of the biggest chocolate boys that Hollywood has ever seen. Right? उसके बाद और भी कोई बड़े नाम ले ले. Then you come to action heroes like Sylvester Stallone. Right? उसके बिल्कुल ही contemporary looks नहीं थे. Even then he clicked with the people. Arnold he came from bodybuilding and ruled all over Hollywood for years. You still need to have that charisma of a superstar, right? And when I see Shah Rukh, Salman, Akshay Kumar, all these guys, they have this persona that they carry. They are all distinct in their style and mannerisms, how they even walk, they talk, right? Unki backstory, Salman bhai is known as a bad boy. And him destroying careers is celebrated through memes. तूने देखा होगा आजकल कितने सारे memes चल रहे हैं, right?
Dude, reels, dude, it's insane.
Yeah, and Shah Rukh maintains a mystery around him. You would never see Shah Rukh doing reels, right? You would never see him doing बेवकूफाना चिरकुंडी हरकतें on Instagram promoting his stuff. He would never do that, right? And then Akshay comes. He's completely poured himself into social media. He's probably the most social media savvy superstar right now that we have. So everybody has a distinct personality, which I think is right now lacking in today's crop. I don't think so. They have a monotone. You need to have a monotone being a star. कि हाँ यार ये मेरी लाइन है मैं यहीं चलूंगा लोग मुझे फॉलो करेंगे. That's what I think.
You know, you look at guys like Leonardo DiCaprio and Jake Gyllenhaal, who are probably in the same age bracket as a Ranveer, huh? And those are the guys who are staying out of social media, creating a sense of mystery before the release and only coming probably a month before their release. And their prerogative to pull in the audience is their talent. So the moment you become the guy who's doing challenges, who is doing Instagram influencer ke saath collab, I feel like that ruins the aura already. Completely. And I feel like that's happening with a lot of younger generation actors right now because, you know, when a tiger gives attention to the guy who mimics him on Instagram and does some collab with him, I feel like it completely... I think it's, you know, the PR issue. The production companies think of it as reach, but it creates a bad public perception of this guy being so accessible that there isn't anything special about him. So suddenly I wondered, is the guy who is seeing Varun do a dance video or, or do a comedy video with an Instagram influencer, the PR has told them, bhai, inke saath ab karo, dance karo. Huh? Is it really translating into someone watching that thing and being like, I'm going to buy a ticket?
No.
I don't think it really translates. Right. They flick. They go ahead.
Instead, बहुत सारी बार तो देख के वो ये बोल देते हैं कि यार क्या बनती कर रहा है. He should not even be doing this.
You know,
right? So I don't think so that, yeah, you're right. It does not translate into ticket sales. I don't think so. Ticket sales is only like कि हाँ trailer अच्छा लगा, we think it's promising, it's our star, we will go and watch him. That's about it.
You know, my favorite interview I've done is with John Abraham, and he speaks about it कि I go through these promotional tours and I'm like क्या मॉल जाके क्या कर रहे हैं हम. हाँ, मॉल जाने के लिए लोग ये नहीं इंटरेस्टेड है कि कौन सी पिक्चर प्रमोट कर रहे हैं, कह रहे हैं अरे जॉन आ गया, सेल्फी मिल जाएगी तो उससे भी बढ़िया, बट पिक्चर के बारे में कोई बात नहीं कर रहा है. तो फिर एक आई रिमेंबर सीइंग कार्तिक promote the fuck out of Shehzada. He was going from one city to the other, one private flight to the other, and I was like, but there is no translation of the product being sold. It's about you working hard to go to locations where you're invited. And I feel like there is a gap between what the purpose is that translates into ticket sales, which is I think Pathan, trailer डाला, गाना डाला, देखना है देखो वरना नहीं देखो.
That's true.
And I think that should be effective today यार. इतना क्या तुम मतलब मॉल जाके और किसी और लोकेशन जाके क्या कर
यार मेरे को तो ये भी नहीं समझ आता कि बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो जाके भीड़ भड़के में कोई टी शर्ट फेंक रहा है तो टी शर्ट स्नैच करने के लिए है वहाँ पे, राइट. भीड़ लग जा रही है वहाँ पे कुछ स्टार्स को लेके, एंड दोज आर नॉट इवन दोज humongous of stars, right? Just like Shahrukh और सलमान, मैं समझता हूँ they can shut a city down, but I would not be interested in watching someone like Karthik, right, going around throwing t-shirts or pants or merchandise, to be very honest. And the same thing goes for Tiger as well. I think Tiger, I don't think so Tiger is a great actor. I don't think so. Like, if somebody asks me what do you think about Tiger, he needs to be the owner of the biggest gym chain in India, probably one of the best martial artists face to come out of India. An actor like Scott Adkins, right? Scott Adkins, he's like a B grade actor still. Scott Adkins is a by the way, he's a very good actor as well. Not to compare his acting with Tiger Shroff or Vidyut Jamwal, because Scott Adkins has improved. Started out as a stuntman, as a martial artist, doing B or C grade martial art films, then graduated on to getting side roles in A-list Hollywood films, just like John Wick and stuff like that. But still, you would not pay to watch a Scott Adkins led completely film. The only film that people have actually watched and enjoyed of Scott Adkins in a lead role is Undisputed. That's about it. That's about it.
You know what's crazy for me though is, Shan, I do have a sense of, I don't know, I like the fact that Tiger describes himself as a mazdoor. He doesn't consider himself to be a dramatic actor. He knows he has to slog his ass off physically to impress anyone, and no one's going to go to his movie for a rousing speech or character depth. So he understands he's not a good actor, I think. So he tries to cater himself to be that I'm going to flip around and beat as many people as possible. But I feel like he needs to do a movie like Raid Redemption, which is so technical in its action sequences that it stands out. You know, for me, if both Vidyut and Tiger, with their frailties as actors, can perfect the technical prowess with which they match the action sequences, I think people will be appreciative of it more than doing Heropanti 2, which is just a cringe fest.
Which is a cringe fest. Absolutely. Baghi and all, ये talent waste कर रहा है अपना. जो action hero वाला talent है ना इसके अंदर, he's wasting it on the films like Heropanti and Baghi. Whereas he, on the sidelines, he should be doing the films that you mentioned, Raid 2 and all those technically advanced films that cater to the hardcore action audience. उसको ये बात समझ आ जानी चाहिए कि इसको वही देखने आएंगे जो Commando देखने जा रहे हैं, who used to love Terminator 2 and films like that. Or when it comes to action, no, I think Salman and Shah Rukh have related so much as action heroes with people, although they never started out as action heroes, but now they can do it. I think it's not about the body. Maybe it is somewhere about the body as well, but do you connect with the action hero who's doing the action, right? Tiger Shroff doing action in Heropanti is like doing circus, man. What the is he doing? Right? It's not even real. What are you doing? Whereas you watch Rambo First Blood, that film is 35 years old, bro. And you go and watch it and you would still be like, mother, this is how you kill a person, right? And you watch John Wick, like he has a dad bod, man. What the He has a dad bod, half sleepy, half drunk throughout the film. Does not even look like an action hero.
He's barely running, dude. He's barely running. His legs are barely working.
Yeah, and Vidyut and Tiger have world-class physiques. Both of them have fabulous, outstanding physiques. Like probably 0.1% in the entire world have physiques like those in the acting industry.
You know, I feel like there are such less creators in the Hindi space who capture action well. I was watching the first Extraction again. And just seeing the way he's shot that entire car chase sequence. It's insane on how, you know, we are so marred with the number of cuts that we do, na, it ruins the seamlessness of those action
Bloody
set
Daddy,
pieces.
Bloody Daddy is example. Bloody Daddy is action.
Oh
sequence
my
is
god. I got trolled for it. You don't appreciate. But you know, the potential of a high octane action film just set in that hotel was so much. You've got a physically able Shahid Kapoor who can get his hands dirty, but you've barely explored it.
Absolutely. And speaking of Extraction, Randeep Hooda yaar in Extraction 1 playing a
Dude.
ex-special ops soldier. मेरे को नहीं लगता कि इतना बढ़िया पोर्ट्रेयल किसी अपनी पिक्चर में होगा जितना एक हॉलीवुड की पिक्चर में रणदीप हुड्डा का है. द वे ही इज फाइटिंग, द वे देयर इज अ नाइफ फाइट बिटवीन बोथ ऑफ देम, एंड both the guys have been like hammered out of their fucking heads, nose broken, shoulders dislocated, and they are still plowing through. This is how special forces should be represented, right? और अपने यहाँ पे इतना नहीं है representation. Special forces पे ऐसी पिक्चर्स नहीं है.
You know, Shan, I would highly recommend if you have you seen Khuda Hafiz 2?
हाँ.
Okay, there are moments in that film which for me was like, this is probably choreographed by Vidyut because there are moments of 15 seconds where it's just a choreography.
Right,
It's
right.
just the cameras moving according to the choreography. I was like, if you just kept this unapologetic nature of capturing it versus चलो Egypt चलते हैं, pyramid में अब करेंगे कुछ, and you're like, you're ruining, you know, what you built up so well. Many times I feel like, they always need a hook. अरे पर लोग क्यों देखेंगे ये? चलो भारत का इशू बना देते हैं, नेशनलिज्म का कुछ कर देते
पेट्रियोटिज्म
हैं.
ले आएंगे बीच में, जबरदस्ती का पेट्रियोटिज्म घुसेड़ दो. वो 3 बार जय श्री राम चीख देगा बीच में, या 3 बार जय हिंद चीख देगा आउटसाइड ऑफ नोवेयर. यार व्हाई आर यू मिक्सिंग?
Don't you remember किसी का भाई किसी की जान, सही बंदा है ये वंदे मातरम. ये कहाँ से बोल दिया?
बंदे में है दम, वंदे मातरम. जबरदस्त
वंदे मातरम भाई.
और भाई
कुछ
कन्विक्शन,
भी.
हाँ बिल्कुल छपरी. और भाई को लगता है बैठे लोग बनियाने फाड़ेंगे, सिक्के मारेंगे इस पे. क्या डायलॉग्स है भाई, ये क्यों लिखा जा रहा है? फराज सामजी को काम क्यों मिल रहा है? मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रही क्यों लिख रहा है वो. और मुझे इनको लगता है ये ना नई वाली जनरेशन के लिए. और ये पता है क्या एक्सक्यूज देते हैं? इनके इंटरव्यू सुनियो, आजकल की जनरेशन ऐसी है यार, हमारे को लिखना पड़ता है. भाई तू और मैं आज की जनरेशन.
Bro, the worst for me was Rohit Shetty before Circus.
Oh, yeah.
Was like, असली कनेक्शन ना हमारे पास है, हम बैंड्रा से अंधेरी तक नहीं बनाते अपनी मूवीज, पूरी इंडिया देखती है. सर्कस से पहले ये कह रहा था. डूड, शान, आई वाज इन लंदन दैट टाइम. मैंने कहा यार देखनी है, रिव्यू करनी है. देसी ऑडियंस और थिएटर के इंटरवल में बोल रहे हैं भाई बस यार चलो, बहुत हो गया. और ये कनेक्शन है पैन इंडिया के साथ.
Bro, it's a mockery, right? मेरे को लगता है हमारा मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं लोग.
But you know what broke my heart? A movie which I thought had great potential to be an unapologetic action film was Attack.
Oh yes, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
वो हो सकता था.
And I think Immortal Ashwathama, if they make it with that, I think has a lot of potential. And Project K, if they don't f it up, if they don't make it a cringe fest, I think Project K has that ability that has never been done before. But I don't trust Prabhas, man. That man does not move a facial muscle ever in any of his films, bro. And I have no. तेको पता है आदिपुरुष में 400-500 करोड़ whatever they put in, 150 करोड़ उसके चेहरे को ना प्रेजेंटेबल लगाने के लिए लगाया होगा. Yeah, and I don't understand.
Bro, sadly it has happened. You know, a lot of people have theories about it. A lot of people, which are on slightly sensitive things that have happened in his life. So I wouldn't know what exactly has led to a dramatic physical change in him, but they do have certain theories about it, and it has reflected on just the light in his skin going away and him looking supremely tired and exhausted. And it didn't benefit Adipurush at all. It was very clear in Radhe Shyam also, where they CGI'd his face and de-aged his face completely. I think he also physically has had an injury. That's why a lot of his running sequences are carried out by another actor. So you can see it in Adipurush also. It's almost animated when he runs.
Everything's yeah.
So it's, and you know, so I try to understand, you know, where this love and empathy comes from for an actor like him, and people communicate to me is one that, you know, he was a guy who had limited range as an actor but had a real fire with him. If you see his movie with S.S. Rajamouli called Chhatrapati, you'll see it. You'll see it in a movie like Bahubali. But because that's gone away and Bahubali created this monster, he was not ready for that monster.
Right.
He wasn't ready for each movie after that to be an event film. He was a Telugu actor who became this global star. And he never wanted really to have this pressure constantly. He's making a lot of money,
Absolutely.
a lot of money doing what he's doing. But
I don't think so. He's even enjoying that process.
I think he looks even more exhausted now. You see him during the Comic-Con interviews, it's almost as if they've churned out everything from his body. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Adi Purush would have been his career-defining role. You are getting to play Bhagwan Ram. Like, you are lucky to play this. I mean, I would bet कि top actors from Bollywood would charge half the fees playing Bhagwan Ram. They would be just like, यार मेरे को ये role दे दो. Just imagine Hrithik in that role, man. Just imagine
Dude.
how good of a persona वो हमारे subconscious में छप जाता. जैसे अरुण गोविल जी छपे हुए हैं ना श्री राम की तरह. ऐसे ही if a person with and people are like कि वो काला है तुम इसलिए बोलते हो. It's not about that. All of us are brown skin, man. It's not about काला और गोरा. It's about the vibrance in your face. भगवान श्री राम को जैसे डिपिक्ट किया गया है टेक्स्ट बुक्स में, किसी ने देखा नहीं है ना. टेक्स्ट बुक्स में जैसे डिपिक्शन है उनका, तो टेक्स्ट बुक्स के डिपिक्शन के हिसाब से तो तुम कैरेक्टर स्केच बनाओगे ना एक बंदे का. टेल मी वेयर इज इट रिटन कि प्रभास जैसा कोई लगता है हु इज नॉट इवन इंटरेस्टेड.
Dude, those gentle, sharp features, that gentle face expressions, those sharp features, Hrithik would have been ideal.
Ideal, man. Like you shut your eyes and the first person, like not even 5 minutes of thought into it, Hrithik's face, like Hrithik looks like Bhagwan Ram, man. Just give him that kavach, give him that dhanush band, put him on a rath, he would look like that. हनुमान के लिए बहुत सारे बेटर हो सकते थे यार. सैफ never made a public appearance in any of the promotions for Adi Purush. He never even cared.
He was vacationing, dude, while it was tanking.
He just took the money and he just f***ed off. He was like यार ठीक है करते रहेंगे जो कर रहा है, मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं है. And he still till date he hasn't given any statement around Adi Purush. That's the most surprising part of the film.
Bro, but I loved that you directly called out Manoj Muntashar, dude.
Absolutely.
That, you know, the smugness annoyed me so much. And you know what's crazy, Ashan? Just in January before Pathan's release, he was in a press conference saying, you know, because they asked him, Besharam Rang sir, Bhagwa Rang ko aise light में दिखाया, आपका क्या कहना है? And he's like, ये अवॉइड किया जा सकता था वैसे, यू नो, लोगों के सेंटिमेंट्स के बारे में. इमेजिन द स्मगनेस विद
The audacity you have to say all of this after the fact that you've written the worst film on Ramayana that could ever be made, which has already been made already, but इससे ज़्यादा बुरी पिक्चर मुझे नहीं लगता रामायण पे कभी आएगी. I remember Amir Khan saying in an interview, हम कभी भी we will never fail, Ramayana and Gita will never fail us, we will fail Ramayana and Gita. और exactly वही हुआ है आदि पुरुष के साथ भी. एंड एग्जैक्टली वही हुआ है. तो यार मुझे नहीं लगता कि these guys are even learning from their mistakes. We would a lot of the roster coming for the next 6 months towards the end of this year is Masala Films, ruled by Masala Films. Yeah. Even in Shah Rukh's case, the Trident films that he has brought, Pathan, and now the next is Jawan, and the most important film of this whole trinity of films that he's bringing will be Dunki. I'm looking forward to that film. Right? I want to watch that Shah Rukh. I watched Shah Rukh in Pathan कि हाँ भाई ये कर रहा है and fair enough, body बना ली, fair enough.
It'll be a similar vibe also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to watch Swades वाला Shah Rukh. I want to watch My Name Is Khan वाला Shah Rukh because that's the Shah Rukh, man. वो एक credibility लेके आता है role में. That's what makes him a superstar for us. सलमान भाई is a character in himself. जैसे Dwayne The Rock Johnson है ना, वो अपना character जीता है अपने life में. तो सलमान is a character in himself. Whereas Shah Rukh Khan is a director's actor. He knows, he will sit with the director, he would ask कि भाई मेरे को बताओ क्या करना है और फिर मैं अपने हिसाब से मॉडिफाई करके वो करूंगा. आई थिंक पठान करना, जवान करना, शाहरुख पीयर प्रेशर में आ गया जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया था. एंड देन ही वाज लाइक फेयर इनफ. बट देन अगर मैं 3 पिक्चरों के साथ आ रहा हूं तो आई वांट टू हैव अ वेरी गुड नॉन मटेरियलिस्टिक फिल्म दैट आई वुड वांट टू से डंकी होगा. राइट? It's about Mexicans going border टाप के अमेरिका जाते हैं and people who illegally migrate and stuff like that. That would be a fantastic film, I guess.
You know what I also still hope for, and this is also me constantly wishing for a glass half full, is Salman surrendering one day to someone, you know, and saying, "Sir, jo karna hai karo." And you know, the fact that he can do a Bajrangi, can do a Sultan, makes me think if he does ever surrender, na kuch to gem nikalta hi hai. But his unwillingness to surrender and just push out mediocrity is, I don't know
अंतिम में
whether
छोटा
it's
सा रोल था.
blinded him.
अंतिम में he was looking pretty decent, man. अंतिम was pretty decent.
He was good,
Right?
yeah, he was good, he
there.
was good.
जहाँ पे भी वो तमीज वाले काम करते हैं ना भाई, तो वो अच्छे लगते हैं, राइट? लाइक व्हाट पीपल एक्सपेक्ट हिम टू डू. भाई मेरे को एक बात बताओ, किसी का भाई किसी की जान में किसने बोला बाल बढ़ा लो? लाइक किसने बोला बाल बढ़ा?
Who approved it and said it looks good? And the audacity of people on Twitter to be like loving the new look. I was just like, what is? How can you know? That's the saddest part about paid PR, on how obvious they make it that they've been paid.
Right. And that's the same thing that's happening with our fraternity as well. A lot of these guys are paid, and it shows कि भाई मुझे दिख रहा है कि you have been paid to say all of this, when you know that this is absolutely trash. And that is one thing that breaks my heart.
Shan, you know, there is a great beauty to the distance you have from the industry. And, you know, I have a sincere love for movies, love for Hindi cinema, especially because that was the first love. And it was my dream that if through the process of talking about films, I can interact with some of these stars that I grew up watching, it would be, मतलब कि सोने पे सुहागा, इससे तो बेस्ट कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. अब सैडली क्या हो गया है, वो रिलेशनशिप इन्फ्लुएंसर का और फिल्म इंडस्ट्री का इतना इंटरमिंगल हो गया है कि दे थिंक आई रब योर बैक, यू रब माई बैक. हाँ, तो वो आपको स्क्रीनिंग पे बुलाएंगे, वो आपको वो, तो ये मैंने एक इंटरव्यू में बोला था, बट द प्रेशर टू for them, the pressure that they put on you when they've given you an opportunity to interact with talent, to then be like, कैसी लगी पिक्चर, अच्छी लगी ना, चलो चलो आपको एक्टर से मिलाते हैं, एक्टर ऐसे ऐसे खड़ा होगा थिएटर के बाहर, कैसी लगी पिक्चर, कांट वेट फॉर योर रिव्यू. एंड यूर लाइक, इससे बेस्ट है ना कि थोड़ा डिस्टेंस रखो, बिकॉज एंड यू नो दैट्स व्हाई आई लव सम ऑफ द एक्टर्स. कुछ एक्टर्स हैं, मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा उनका, जो बोलते हैं पेलना है ना तू पेल, पर तू सच्ची बोलियो, जो करना है कर. वो बहुत ही इतने से है, मतलब 5-6 होंगे एक्टर, बाकी सब आपको डीएम करेंगे रिलीज से पहले कि चलें बात करें. एंड that's where it breaks your heart, because वो कहते हैं ना, don't meet the guys that you look up to or idolize.
Absolutely.
वो, because then you realize that it's all just you know, just protecting the image that gets put out there, and they're willing to you know, talk to anyone and pretend as if they know me. You know, they start calling me Anmol and stuff, and I'm like,
बहुत जल्दी informal हो गया.
PR has trained them 2 minutes before I came in front of them. That's the only personal, you know, take that they have. I remember getting called by PR and telling कि अच्छा सर आप अपना 1 line बता दो, हम पोस्टर पे रेडी कर देंगे. And I was like, नहीं यार, मुझे पिक्चर अच्छी नहीं लगी, तो I wouldn't want that pressure. अरे यार आपको कैसे पसंद नहीं आई. So you're like, अच्छा यार सर आप मुझे इनवाइट मत करो, वो बेस्ट होगा नेक्स्ट टाइम.
That's true. अच्छा, a lot of people think कि अगर तुम्हें स्क्रीनर्स मिल जाते हैं तो तुम्हारे को पॉजिटिव रिव्यू देना पड़ेगा. ये फॉल्स है. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली फॉल्स. नेटफ्लिक्स, हर बड़े ओटीटी से मेरे को स्क्रीनर्स आते हैं, तेरे को भी आते होंगे आई एम श्योर, बट नेवर वंस हैव दे सेड दिस एक्सप्लिसिटली कि यार पॉजिटिव रिव्यू दे देना. नेवर ना ही कभी ऐसा कुछ भी कन्वे हुआ है आज तक. आई आस्क देम फॉर स्क्रीनर्स, आर यू गिविंग आउट द स्क्रीनर्स? दे आर लाइक, ओके वी विल असाइन यू द स्क्रीनर टुमारो, दैट्स अबाउट इट. आई गेट द लिंक, आई वॉच इट, आई से व्हाटएवर आई वांट टू से. And that's exactly what I follow on the podcast as well. हमारी lineup अगले 4-5 महीने की है, and there are good OTT actors as well that we will see in the coming months on the show. But the point is, I told them कि भाई मेरे को आपका टाइम नहीं चाहिए जब आप प्रमोशंस कर रहे हो. मेरे को नहीं चाहिए. आई वॉन्ट यू एटलीस्ट 3 months बिफोर अ शो और 3 months आफ्टर अ शो, जहां पे आप कुछ भी प्रमोट करने की जल्दबाजी में नहीं हो, एंड यू आर नॉट गिविंग मी ओनली 45 minutes. दिस इज नॉट एन इंटरव्यू. I've literally said this to a number of OTT guys. Like Ishfaq Singh was on a podcast like right before Ankit. fantastic guy, man. Ishfaq Bhai is a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Like, he has been in contact ever since I put out Patal Lok's review in 2020. He appreciated me, DM'd me, and then we have been talking to each other and stuff like that. मेरे को पता नहीं था उनका अधूरा रिलीज होने वाला है. Right. And he came about a month before Adhura on the channel. We shot the podcast and he was not promoting it at all. And he was very frank कि यार तू बजाता है, तू बजाइयो, तूने जैसे करना है. And he was a very humble, down to earth guy. And I think he's one of the finest OTT acting talents that we have in the country, who's consistently challenging and honing himself. कोई भी उसको तो उनको एक्टिंग दे दे, तू रॉकेट बॉयज ले ले, अधूरा ले ले. He has played plethora of roles and he has done justice to everything. So I think you should never.
He's brilliant, dude. He's brilliant.
तभी मैं प्रमोशंस के बहुत सारे आते हैं अभी, जैसे स्पाइस वाले या Z5 वाले प्रमोशन कर रहे हैं कि आप इनका इंटरव्यू कर लो, ये आने वाला. मैंने मुझे पता है वो आधा घंटा मुझे देगा, उसमें से उसको जो स्क्रिप्टेड है वो पूछा जाएगा, मैं कुछ पूछूंगा वो इरिटेट हो जाएगा ना, उसका भी टाइम बर्बाद, मेरा भी टाइम बर्बाद. एंड अ लॉट ऑफ दीज एक्टर्स डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दैट दे नीड यूट्यूब सपोर्ट. जैसे बिग बॉस में अभी हो रहा है ना, बिग बॉस को खींची यूट्यूबर्स रहे हैं, बाकियों को तो कोई जानता ही नहीं है ना. अ लॉट ऑफ दीज एक्टर्स जितने भी खुल जाते हैं ना, एक्टर्स और सेलिब्रिटीज आके पॉडकास्ट पे, आई थिंक दे गेट वे मोर अप्रिसिएशन फ्रॉम द ऑडियंसेस. देखो कभी टाइम मिले तो मेरा इक्का वाला वो देखियो पॉडकास्ट. इक्का बाजी केम आउट लाइक जैसे तू और मैं बात कर रहे हैं ना, एड लाइक 100 कस वर्ड्स पर सेकंड कमिंग फ्रॉम इक्का. ओ बहन ये हुआ, बहन वो हुआ. एंड इक्का इज दिस रैपर हुज डन बॉलीवुड सॉन्ग्स. ही इज एवरीवेयर, ही इज ऑन द रोलिंग स्टोन्स कवर, एंड देन ही इज कमिंग टू अ पॉडकास्ट एंड देन ही इज बीइंग हिमसेल्फ. लाइक एवरीबडी वुड अप्रिशिएट इट, right? So certain actors won't do that. They would come and they would still be at their podium. They are still sitting at a podium and looking down कि हाँ ठीक है यार YouTube ही तो है. I don't think so. That's one thing that a lot of actors do, which is right, to connect with the audiences.
You know what's the thing is, I think it's a catch-22 for me, yaar, or a double-edged sword for me, Shan. Ki, you know, at one point I do understand them in not doing the interviews because they're like, I don't want to be overexposed. Social media, I'm not going to do. Or the other guy who's like, okay, let's cater to everyone. Let's pander to everyone so that everyone's happy. So you're spreading yourself too thin also in that case. So I feel like, you know, rather than doing the routine thing of what the guy wants to do, the talent himself wants to do, that should stand out versus Zoom ko interview diya, Pinkfella ko interview diya, isko interview diya, and you know the 5-minute interviews that happen. It doesn't really help the film, but sometimes I wonder, does anything help the movie? Does Kapil Sharma help?
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
every movie being promoted, even though it has such a massive viewership? So am I just like a small fish in the pond who is saying कि अरे सर मेरे साथ बात करो, while the impact is not being created by Kapil also? So मैं थोड़ा सा वो होता हूँ इसमें, थोड़ा सा मेरा conflict होता है कि I get it that they don't want to come because there is no payoff, but I do love those interactions when they come, just because they like you, you know? They resonate with the content that you're doing and your thought process, and they're like, let's just jam together. Yaar. Those are the best
Those
conversations.
are the best conversations. और अभी तक, including you, everybody that who has come on the channel, they knew about my content. I of course knew about their content as well, but we were a mutual admirer of each other's content, like you and I are. Like we have unpacked so much in this 2-hour conversation, right? We have talked about the most burning issues right now, hate and everything that we have talked about. I don't think so. अगर हम एक दूसरे के साथ लॉगर हेड पे होते कि यार वी आर each other's competitors in the same scope and stuff like that, right? And you are in any case way ahead of me in terms of subscribers, and you've been doing this way longer than I have been, and how you tend to your audience and how I tend to my audience is so different, right? But yet we are sitting here together and we are talking at the same wavelength, right? So this is mutual admiration that comes. ये वैसे नहीं होती कि यार अभी आधे घंटे की प्रमोशन करने कोई आ रहा है तो भैया मैं कर लेता हूँ. So you are right in saying that as well. ये वाला होता है.
No, but
So,
you know, I feel like the best conversations are with the people who you appreciate them for their craft versus pandering to them. And I feel like when you did call or when you did message, I was like, why didn't this happen sooner? From my end also, you know, because I feel like we might have different processes in imbibing content, but I feel like from a human level, it's almost we unpacked organically rather than wanting to do small talk. So which was great.
Yeah, absolutely, man. मैंने तेरे एक दो interviews देखे भी हैं, and I was skeptic कि यार अनमोल खुलेगा इतना. Would he be able to talk? But then I talked to you on the call yesterday, and I was like, yeah, he's pretty chill about it. It's just the way that I drive the conversation, and I think pretty much. I mean, I've seen people who interviewed you, and you've been like कि हाँ यार मैं ये आंसर दे देता हूँ because उसने से पूछा ही वह वो तू क्या बताएगा उसको, right?
But Shan, I have to tell you, even in the social media space, there is some delusion of them thinking that they're stars in their own small spaces. Okay, so I've been on these press tours where I've been with a bunch of influencers. And just the ego, and I was wondering कहाँ के star यार मैं सोचता था कि सोचो I'll tell you Varun, whenever I've interacted with him, is a very sweet chap, whenever he does talk, and whenever I've not liked his film, he's taken it like a sport, and he's very sweet. मैंने कहा उस बंदे में कोई साला ईगो नहीं है, तू छोटा सा यहाँ पर मतलब कह रहा है अरे यार कॉल टाइम 9 PM, चलो 10 बजे आ जाएंगे. मैंने कहा बस तू कौन है? एंड दीज आर लाइक रैंडम इंस्टाग्राम इन्फ्लुएंसर्स. सो दिस our industry has also created this delusion that everyone's their own hero, heroine.
Yeah. Everybody who has like certain amount of subscribers, they are like, I don't understand. I got a DM from Adnan Sami. Like Adnan Sami has DM'd me in the past that he's been watching my content, he loved it, and he was explicit. And that day I was like, oh my god, right? Bollywood royalty has messaged me, and he has no attitude. So who am I? Even if I am like at 10 million subscribers, I am nobody to be like too snooty about my success or anything like that.
But people who are just secure with what they're doing will never project like that.
Absolutely.
And ये जो थोड़े रोडी शोडी रियलिटी टीवी वाले जो वैसे टाइप है ना, वो सबसे ज्यादा एटीट्यूड दिखाएंगे, सबसे
ज्यादा होता है. हाँ, रोडीज वाले तो सबसे ज्यादा, ये सारे हैं एक से एक. ये रोस्ट होना बनता भी है इनका. ये सोशल करेंसी पे जो आ रहे थे ये वाले सारे के सारे इन्फ्लुएंसर्स, कैंसरस शो मैन. दैट शो इज टर्मिनल cancer.
Did you do a roast show? You did a roast episode?
Oh yeah, I roasted that show, man. I roasted that show. So it was like absolutely, bro. That's that.
Is there any money that you will accept for Big Boss?
I've been very explicit about it. If they give me a big bag, I will go. But so, it's like some people call it a career suicide. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि मैं अपने career में बहुत ज़्यादा वो कर रहा हूँ. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Would you go?
No, I think so I've been offered all these like Splitsvilla and some dating shows and all of that. But
Splitsvilla and Roadies I won't go. Big Boss I would still go.
But I've never considered it. I always found it to be very silly. But if it's a big bag, I wouldn't. I would think about it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. See, यार, that's the point. We are at that point in our careers कि ऐसा भी नहीं है कि हमने इतना कुछ अचीव कर लिया है कि हमारी इमेज डिटेरियोरेट हो जाएगी. We are still somewhere. We are semi-popular. We are bona fide popular guys who are some YouTube personalities amongst a sea of YouTube personalities. And then we would have to do certain things to stand out. And it's our career thing, man. It's like अब हमने ये चीज choose कर ली है. Now we are here. Might as well just do it.
Bro, there should be no ego on the medium. The medium, this ego, I'm better than this, I'm better than that. It's absolutely insane where, some people shit on like TV actors and stuff. Dude, they're making consistent money. I can't hate on that, yaar. I can hate on the content they're probably doing, but I can't hate on the hustle. So sometimes when I feel like, guys who think that reality TV is crap, this is crap, everything's crap, but or the Instagram hustle or the YouTube hustle's crap, everything has a monetary purpose and a reason why people are doing it consistently. But I wouldn't do anything for free, for sure. I'm on the same boat as you.
Yeah, bro, this is like insane. How much time has passed? We've been at it for like what, 2 hours now?
Yeah.
2 hours plus, man. Never thought that conversation would be like this good, man. It would go on for so long. Trust me, if we start discussing reality shows, I'm pretty sure we share so much common opinion that we would go another 2 hours for sure, without a break, man. Without a break. So what's next? What video do we expect from you next?
So
God
I'm doing probably Oh My God tomorrow, just because I want to unpack again what we were talking about, perception versus reality, and almost I think on a magnifying lens being put on Akshay Kumar right now. I think he's getting the short end of the stick with this whole thing, and I feel like Pankaj Tripathi might just kill it in the film, and it'll be like a dark horse during that weekend. So I want to pack all of that. But a few interviews with a few actors this month, and we've started creative parallel with the company, which is actually pitching a few short form and long form content ideas to the streaming platforms. So that's working on the side.
Oh, that's great, man. So do we get to see you on the on OTT anytime soon?
Yes, probably next year, but in development this year. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Are you like allowed to share the name of the platform?
No, not allowed to say the thing. It's a non-fictional thing first that I'm doing with the streaming platform. I've tried my fair share with the fictional auditioning and stuff.
Yeah.
When a particular movie comes out at the end of the year, then I'll tell you which movie it was. But it was a pretty funny experience because I auditioned for a thing which is going to be this massive thing, but I lost out on the opportunity because they cast someone familiar.
Right. Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm pretty sure, man, you look like a dropper anyway. You'll get a good ass.
Nah.
You'll get a good ass. I keep seeing your fitness reels as well, man. You're getting jacked too. That's
No,
nice.
I'm trying my best. Yeah, I've been the lightest I've been in the 5 years that I've been training. I think I lost the mojo during the pandemic. I know you're a sportsman yourself. I remember seeing you during men's XP days, and I just saw you were taking care of yourself that time. Fitness is a huge part of, I think, me being a little sane right now.
Same,
And
bro.
I think
I had to
consider
compete
it
in
to be
natural
therapy for
bodybuilding
sure.
last year. I had to compete in natural bodybuilding last year. So, but then I tore my ACL while playing basketball. Then I got thrown out. I lost a lot of size. Then a lot of zeal to like. Then I subconsciously started training very moderately, not as intensely and stuff like that. But yeah, man, fair enough. It's like just like it's with you. It's an anchor for my life. That if I do not work out for these many hours in a day, if I do not go out, get sunlight, get some outdoor activity, I would be insane by now, right?
Dude.
So it's a therapy that people like, most underrated therapy for mental
I
well-being.
agree, man. I agree. And those 2 hours, they help so much, man. In
Oh,
just
they help so much, man. It's so much hate that we get on stuff. Like, how do you churn through that, right? How do you machete yourself?
So
through that first?
I remember. See, I was a dancer all my life, so I
Oh
was
yeah, absolutely, man. You're a
extremely lean.
fantastic dancer, man.
No, so but my body type was extremely lean. So to the point where I would never stand out in a regular, say, restaurant or a bar. But what would happen was that I started performing on stage a lot, where the criteria was you need to build some muscle. And that's where I fell in love with, the gym and really going after it. But I remember I was always getting the conflicting situation where I was the biggest guy in the dance class, but I was the smallest chap in the gym. So that's what I dealt with.
Yeah,
But I just post stories, not for thirst traps, but just for... Sometimes,
absolutely,
Shan,
man.
sometimes, Shan, you're so fucking proud of yourself after a
absolutely.
fortnight of consistency. You're just like, I'm going to post this one.
Yeah. And people think it's thirst traps and stuff. But are you dating?
No,
are you in
I'm
love or
not
something
dating
like that? You're
anyone.
not?
No.
Damn, bro. अभी से ही तेरे diplomatic answer आने लग गए हैं.
No, I'm actually I'm actually not dating. You're married,
dating.
right?
No, I'm married, man. I married my girlfriend. We dated for 9 years. Been married for 5 years now. So yeah, I was lucky in that matter that I got the woman who is with me who has been with me through thick and thin. So I was lucky. I recognized that love, right? And then I moved on with that thing. So I did not. I got married at 27, man. How old are you?
I turned 29 this year.
Oh, right. So by your age, I was 2 years into my marriage. So yeah, but I was dating
that's
since I
sweet,
was
yeah.
like 21. Yeah, so that was good enough. But bro, it was absolutely fantastic sitting down with you, having fun. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking out all the time. And we should do this again, man. Let something big come out, and we should rant about it more.
then let's unpack that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's unpack that again and sit and just ठीक है भाई, thank you so much for coming and let me know whenever you want to do it again, or if you want me to come out on your channel, we should talk about some
Yeah,
things
man.
there. I'm always here, just a WhatsApp away. Just let me know, man. Thank
So
you
good to talk to
again.
you, man, Shan. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
All right.
And we gotta do it something like this. This.